Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with Matt Murray.
Hello.
And James Farley.
Hello.
And John Denton.
Why am I always third?
Because you're...
What's that all about?
You're the standard...
You used to mix it up.
Hold on, right? So we ripped into James for when he was always third, and you come in now. What's wrong with being third? Why does it matter?
Well, you used to mix it up.
All right.
If that was the established order from when I first came in, then all good. But it used to mix it up, and now, but like last 3-4 episodes, maybe 5 episodes, I just come in third.
Oh, I didn't.
This is after, this is you called me the intern. I mean, like, what am I doing with my Monday nights here? Coming third. Fucking.
I will. I'll say you before my name next week. Would that make you feel better?
Why? Look, I think
I'll make you because we're going to be on stage.
Good point.
John, I think you ought to be special guest John Denton. Say that at the end.
Oh, is that?
Oh, that's worse.
Firstly, I'd like to say a big thank you to Matt Murray for editing the podcast last week. I appreciate that.
No worries.
It's just like every now and then I do something on the Tuesday nights. So in order to get the show out to you on Wednesday, Matt steps in to edit when I can't do it. So thanks for that, Matt. I'd also like to say that if that does happen again and I am busy on the Tuesday, the show will be a day late because Matt is never allowed to edit the podcast ever again.
What have I done?
That's it. He's lost any credibility that he ever had. He's lost my trust, and he's done possibly the most disgraceful thing that I've ever heard in all my years of podcasting. I mean, you have really I think you thought you got away with it, but you didn't because I heard it. Well, I'll give you a chance. What do you think it is? I'll give you a chance now to get out of an absolute tongue lashing.
I've literally no idea. I thought it was a great edit.
Right, okay, here we go. Matt.
Yeah.
Matt Murray.
Yep.
I can't even... Matt Murray has been caught editing laughter out of the podcast after I've made a joke.
What?
What?
Actively editing out laughter from the show when I say a joke to make it sound like my jokes go down worse than they do.
I don't think I did that.
For those of you that don't know how we record this podcast, we're all in separate places all over the country. And we talk on Discord and we record our local audio files. That allows us to make it sound a little bit better, so we're all recording on decent mics and stuff. You haven't got that internet lag. It also allows us to sort of chop out little bits and pieces here and there. So if we talk over each other and it's a bit pointless, we could chop that out, because you get that when you're recording in different locations. It's hard to read each other's, it's impossible to read each other's body language and know when the other one's about to speak and stuff like that. So we edit little bits together. What we don't do is, or what I've never done, is actively try to discredit someone by editing the show in the way they have. And Matt, I have got evidence for you.
Well, I'm sure you got evidence. And
Again, if you don't know, I also make up a backup recording, because when you're recording 4 separate files the way we do, it's inevitable that once in a while something goes wrong. Usually James Farley farting or not doing a test recording.
Hey, come on.
It's true.
Okay, that was a long time ago. But
it's true though, isn't it?
It's true. But then that has nothing. I haven't done anything wrong for quite a while now.
All right, okay, fine.
Fine.
So
it's not fair.
So I was listening back to the backup recording, which is a direct feed from the Discord chat, and this is just one example. Here we go. All right, okay, yeah, we're very humbled. We love it. Thank you.
Thank you ever so much for everyone who nominated us. Oh yeah, I'm joking. We did it. So,
and I know, I said all that stuff about the other nominees and stuff, but yeah, I really, really mean it. Let's go. Next, let's go. Now, you might have heard John's little laugh there at the end of "I really, really mean it," and that sets the tone of John knows that I'm fucking around a bit. It's not my best joke, it's the old switcheroo, but there it is. This is Matt's edit. Same clip, okay?
When Gareth Dutton wins.
All right, okay, yeah, we're very humbled. We love it. Thank you.
Thank you ever so much, everyone who nominated us. Oh yeah, I'm joking. We did it. So.
And I know, I said all that stuff about the other nominees and stuff, but yeah, I really, really mean it. Let's go. Next, there's feedback. Where does John's laugh go?
Well, I just thought it'd be funnier for there to be no laughter after it, and then we move into the next section.
Did you think that was you mean you consciously edited out John's little laugh there?
That bit now, yeah, it rings a bell, and I definitely did that. Yeah, I thought
it rings a bell because you literally just heard it.
I can't believe that.
This is disgusting,
there's a glimmer of hope. Right? Slow down. There was a glimmer of hope of me thinking maybe Matt just shifted the track. It's been done a million times, and he's accidentally deleted that bit. But you're telling me you intentionally.
What I thought, Dave. I thought maybe there was a bit of noise on my end, and he just lowered my audio. Maybe creaky chair.
There was some noise on your end, John. Jesus Christ! 3/4 of the edit was just cutting out
Matt,
creaking
shut the
against
fuck up, Matt. Shut the fuck up. He ain't on trial here.
You could have just used that. Oi, dickhead! You could have just used that as an excuse then, instead of just telling the truth.
Oh, sorry.
What? Hang on, Matt. What? Do you just having a dig at me now?
He's lashing out.
He's deflecting, mate. He's deflecting.
Also, I mean, which other episodes has Matt edited? I mean, I don't listen back to this ever, so I'm just wondering.
It doesn't concern you then.
What else he's done to the other ones he's edited?
I've gone for every episode with a fine-tooth comb. Let me put it that way.
Matt, you're admitting to editing out people laughing at my jokes? You're literally admitting to it. So what? That's fucking beyond insane. It's beyond insane. We all know that you're weird, right? We all know that. We're all weird.
I'm weird, yeah.
We all know, you're weird.
Okay.
Everyone's weird on this podcast, yeah? Well, I'm reiterating the point here. That is next level horseshit. You do not edit out people laughing at my gags. You don't do that. And I don't know why you're doing that.
Dave.
I think there's part of you that thinks, oh, it makes me look better, because if you listen back to that clip again, you make a joke and no one laughs, right? And part of me was thinking today, do you know what? As a punishment, I'll edit out all the laughter from any joke you make on this show. But then I thought, well, that's not actually going to be much work, because there's hardly any laughter when you make a joke. I cannot believe you've done this, and there's no way I can trust you to edit this podcast again. That's fucking
Dave,
bullshit, Matt.
In my defence, at some point, I copied laughter from other jokes and put them after your jokes. So
that's bollocks. Why?
I mean, maybe not this episode, but I'm constantly moving conversations around, and the laughter after said. At one point, oh my god, I didn't actually do this, but at one point I was thinking, once someone did a really good laugh, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll just copy and paste that, but I didn't actually. But I was gonna I was going to laugh again, see if anyone noticed it.
Okay, Matt, enough. Shut the fuck up now. John, James, do you trust Matt to edit this podcast anymore?
Absolutely not.
Is it just me? It's not just me, is it?
Well, maybe John or James can edit next time.
Yeah, I don't know.
So that's your apology, is it?
No, that's just, one of you guys are going to have to do it if I can't do it.
See, I didn't know that you were using this as an opportunity, Matt, to make yourself look better and stuff like that.
I know, that's what it
make
is.
The show better.
Well, by making yourself look better, by cutting laughter out of... What do you mean? It's got nothing to do with you?
Me. I just thought, okay, that section would have more gravitas if there was a bit of silence and a bit.
But the point was, right? I was fucking around, and that's John's. It wasn't the biggest laugh ever, but that was John's acknowledgement of.
I've seen
no, he's mucking about. That sets the tone, and you've destroyed the tone, and you made it all sound like all fucking serious and weird, or not funny when it was funny. I don't.
Well, basically, I thought that's the space when the listener listens and they laugh, and then we move on.
I should have known this. Everything you do, right, turns into a fucking nightmare, right? Everything you do, look, it's everything involved with a podcast. Trying to create an art for a tweet you spend days on, doing that photo of you holding the two.
Do you know, you have no idea how like the setup for the. I mean, it worked out okay in the end. The stream that we did
worked out perfectly, James.
But the amount of effort that went into that was insane. Like compared with, I mean, I never go to that length, and those other ones were fine. It was ridiculous. I had headphones on one side of my head, another headphones in the other, and I had a computer out. It was ridiculous. I don't know why we were doing that. It was fine.
Well, because I couldn't adjust the party chat audio, so it was decent level. This way, we had control
only
over
because
every
you
bit of
wanted
audio
to
source.
have like your green screen and all that kind of thing. You know,
That's got
you wanted
literally
to be on the
nothing to do
camera.
with it.
Yeah, you wanted to have the camera and everything. You could have just
Okay, look, that's one thing, right?
Yeah.
But I have got a massive love for talk radio. I've had it for, ever since I was a kid. I've got a massive love for podcasting. And what I like about it is how natural it is, natural the conversation is. You can pick up on the tone of each person that's talking. Every, pause for breath counts towards, the atmosphere that's building around this conversation. And you're splicing that up to benefit yourself is genuinely, Matt, one of the most disgraceful things I've ever heard while I've been podcasting.
It's nothing to do with me.
That's insane. But but who's it got to do with then?
I'm just trying to make it a tighter show for the listeners.
A tighter show by cutting out laughter. Look, that's it. I just
wasn't a
wanted
huge
what I wanted
laugh,
to
it
do.
doesn't matter.
Look, that's it. The final word's been said. What I wanted to do was point out to you that you've been caught. Point out to our listeners that sometimes our show may come out on a Thursday if I'm busy on a Tuesday night. I apologise. I thought we had a backup plan, but I'm never letting that happen again. I'm never letting that happen again. That is mad. That is madness. That's
a shame for listeners, I think. But if you want to do that to them, that's okay.
I don't think it is, Matt. I think they want to hear the conversation as it happens. I don't think they want it to be edited to the point where it's some sort of like it's made in Chelsea or some shit. Like
I don't know what I mean.
Episode of Big Brother.
Yeah,
They edit that stuff. They edit that stuff to tell a story rather than just leave the cameras rolling. That's what they do on those shows.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
They do stuff to make. They edit it in certain ways to make certain people look worse than they are, which is exactly what you've done here, isn't it?
No, I just thought it'd be funnier if there was like a bit of silence and then we move on.
It'd be funny if we cut out the laughing. No, your logic doesn't even make much sense. I've caught you. You've been done.
Yeah, I'm happy with the edit.
The game's
I think it worked. Anything else?
No, what do you mean anything else?
What, any other comments about my editing?
You're a cunt. There's a comment. There's a comment on your editing. What do you want? You do that to me, and you expect me to go, oh, yeah, on with the show.
Well, yeah. Well, what else is going to happen?
Good point.
I think at least a booking. At least a booking.
Yellow card. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Well, you would let him edit again, John?
No. Like one more and he's off the show.
John, would you? Yeah, John. For a kickoff, you don't get the power to say that. Two.
Right, sorry. I didn't even understand what you just said.
Why does John not get that? He's a member of the show.
You can't just come in after 4 episodes saying, "Yeah, get rid of the second main one."
Well, he hasn't been on for 4 episodes, has he?
5.
You're a fucking madman.
Anyway,
You're a madman.
I can't remember what the original point was. Oh yeah, so John, like, would you rather you spend a couple hours editing or me do it?
No, I'll do it the next day. Why are you putting that on John?
Down?
I mean, I know that he's not like involved in the show anymore, but I'd rather get Capone Adam to do it than you now.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen.
I'm sorry. And the thing is,
you get yourself into these ridiculous situations and then you just start lashing out.
Yeah, I know.
You've done this many times. You've been laying into me for not editing the show. I was never asked to edit the show. There's literally never been a question. Nobody's ever asked me to edit the show. John, will you edit
the show next week?
No, because Dave's going to do it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Dave might have Tuesday off.
Well,
fucking hell, Matt.
What are you talking about?
0 points. You
tried to sabotage the show, and then you're just laying into me for not editing it. I
John,
wasn't asked to edit it, mate.
as well? Because it's clearly down to his ego. He's clearly taking this way too seriously. He thinks he's bigger than he is, right? And that's been cropping up as a recurring theme from Matt today. Did you see the whole? He got a tweet cloud for the Twitter thing.
Yeah,
on Twitter you can tweet.
I was looking through the tweets before, and
the biggest word on that cloud thing, or whatever you want to call it, is Matt, which means that Matt tweets about himself in the third person more than anything else on our Twitter.
Because
that was big as well, because I saw that while rolling down the page, looking for questions and stuff. That really jumped out.
Yeah, it's hilarious. That's because I'm like streaming 3 times a week. So say Matt's doing this, Matt's doing that, you know.
Matt's doing this, Matt's doing that, you know.
Matt's doing this, Matt's doing that. Bit of streaming, boy.
Are you literally, this is not even an apology here?
I don't think I need to say sorry.
You don't think you've done anything wrong?
Well, I can see how you might think that I did something well, but I'm happy with the edit, and I think creatively I'm happy with the choices I made. And it's a shame I won't be able to edit again because I really enjoy it. Listeners, I think, enjoy it. I think that they've all said they've been great edits. And it's a shame, but I'll live by my creative decision.
Let's see what the listeners think of this revelation. It's at Computer Game Pod on Twitter, and you can also tag in at Matt Murray. That's Matt with 1 T, Murray.
No H in that.
Tweet is true. Tweet us and let us know what you think of what Matt's done here, and how he's been collared. I genuinely thought, I've been thinking about this all week because I heard it the day that you put it on Podbean. I listened to it and I thought, now I'm going to bring this up on the show. I ain't going to say anything. I'll bring it up on the show, and I am certain that Matt will have some excuse about, oh no, I was moving tracks about and it must have fallen off. But you actively turning around and saying, I took it out, is just, I didn't think it would be that bad.
I'm constantly moving conversations around, like the order in which...
No, I hear it. 9 times out of 10, you're cutting your own voice out because you're talking over everyone.
Yeah,
but
that's a lot of that, definitely.
Okay, fine. I do that to you because it's fucking annoying. Editing out laughing at someone's joke is fucking insane. That's a next level stuff, man. That's next level. That's next level. What's the feedback?
Also, John, you really need to sort either banging the mic or your chair out because the amount of times.
John, I edit. Don't worry about it. Just do what you got to do. All right. Don't listen to that.
This podcast is like 9 hours long. It's uncomfortable as shit.
Yeah, I know.
I've got to move around.
I know.
What? I get excited, Matt. You should show some passion sometimes. You might hit a mic.
I wouldn't hit a mic. I'm professional.
Professional, you banging on about a dongle before this thing started. You're recording on a laptop with a dongle. Call me professional.
It's
you editing out laughter.
2018 MacBook Pro, mate.
Feedback.
Idiot.
Ooh.
Feedback, Matt.
Okay,
fucking
hell, Matt.
Before we get anywhere,
making a bird noise.
We're doing a live show this Sunday. There's a few people from a Discord group meeting up, and so I've got some information about that just before we lose it in the rest of the thread. The Goose posted in Discord and also emailed us saying there are about 8 of us on a Discord group going with a plan for the day, and they want to have a bit of a meet-up. So basically going to meet at midday at the merchandise area on the first floor, ground floor. We'll start again. Their first meetup is at midday at the merchandise. Shut up, John. First meetup is at midday at a merchandise area on the ground floor of the event. Then before the podcast, at 4:30, they're going to meet around 4ish. And then there's also a pub called the Minories, which is near Tower Hill. It's about a 20-minute walk from Rezzed. They do food until 10. It's near Tower Hill Station, and basically be drinks and food.
That's pretty long.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I mean, I didn't choose the pub, but basically it's near Tower Hill Station. It's a Circle and District line, which is where I think a lot of people are going anyway. If you want to have a drink after the show, go to the Minories near Tower Hill, or just go to Discord and chat and just find out where people are going. I think that's basically the plan. So midday, merchandise, ground floor, 4 o'clock before the live show, and Minories in Tower Hill after the show.
Yeah, cabs are available.
Yeah,
Next.
Uber is available. We, on last week's show, I think Dave and James, you talked about the power-up festival thing at the London Science Museum where he plays with old games and old consoles. Chris Pengilly, I think is how you say it, has tweeted in, Dreamcast is the best console ever made. You're absolutely nuts. Virtua Striker wouldn't be something I show off. And from the 3 episodes I've listened to, would you guys go back and play some old systems, as you seem to have missed loads? Now, Chris, I'd love for you to tweet in again and tell us what consoles we've missed. I mean, James had literally been talking about the Lynx and like all sorts of random shit.
I talked about the
weeks.
Jaguar, the 3DO. I even talked about the M2, which is like no one.
I'd love to know what consoles we've missed. I mean,
Yeah, I reckon we haven't. I reckon between us, we've literally haven't missed any.
I mean, even I've been playing old consoles. I mean, I'm not saying something. Well, I don't think we have. But if Chris, please let us know which consoles we haven't either mentioned or played.
Maybe it's because they cover the CDI in like massive detail. We should have talked about that.
Or the Sega Nomad.
Yeah.
Right, okay,
Played that
also,
shit.
there's part of me that's playing up to the whole, hey, everyone really likes the Dreamcast, let's, be a dick about it, right? There's part of me that's doing that. I didn't like the console. That's absolutely
David,
true.
you sat down with it for about a minute.
But that's not the only time I've played one, dickhead.
Don't believe
right?
you. Go on.
Well, okay, fine.
Sorry tonight.
Ask Don Walker, my mate at school. Ask him. We used to rag on his 90 minutes every time he got that out and put it in. No, it's really good, guys. No, it's not, is it, mate? But come on, like Matt, James,
What?
you
Oh,
like
he's losing it.
You like the Dream? Matt, shut the fuck up. I ain't in the mood. James, you like the Dreamcast, right?
I do.
Would you call it the best console ever made?
No, I wouldn't say it's the best console ever made, but it is very good.
This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is the sort of reaction you get when you get something that failed in the way that the Dreamcast did, and it was a massive failure. You'd admit that, wouldn't you?
It was. I mean, it was on the same scale as the Wii U, really.
But Nintendo survived the Wii U.
That's because they had money from the 3DS and stuff, whereas
Yeah,
Sega had
but
nothing.
what I'm saying is that the Dreamcast fucking killed Sega.
No, it didn't. The Saturn killed Sega. This was like the last nail in the coffin was the Dreamcast.
They were still going. They were still going though. They'd still released the Dreamcast.
Yeah, I know.
If
As
the
a last
Dreamcast
crack
was
at
a
the whip after
success,
the.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, so you're blaming it on the Saturn?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can we
I'm
not
blaming it on
blame
the
it on the
Saturn. That was a
Saturn, James?
disaster. The Saturn
No,
was a
I
disaster
prefer
of a
the
console.
Saturn's my favourite console possibly ever.
So hold on. If the Saturn was a disaster of a console,
It was.
you're saying the Dreamcast wasn't?
No, I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying that was the point at which things started to go really badly wrong for Sega.
I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right. That is where it started going wrong. The Saturn was a bit of a joke. I mean, I loved mine, but there's no way. Like, as much as I love the Saturn, I would never turn around and call it the best console. I think what I'm saying is that I think people overcompensate.
No,
for that
it's
console.
it's also because like the Dreamcast was like sent out to die, like in a way. Because it had amazing games that came out on it. But unfortunately, at the same time, you had the PlayStation, which was doing really, really well, and you had the promise of the PS2 and all that emotion engine, like, bullshit that they came up with. And everyone was just like, I'm waiting for that, and because it's got a DVD player. Even though loads of games came out on the Dreamcast before, like, the PS2 came out, they looked better as well. It was an amazing machine, and it just didn't get...
What was the better console, the PlayStation or the Dreamcast?
Which one?
What, PlayStation 1?
Yeah.
Well,
Dreamcast.
exactly, absolutely, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just never liked the Dreamcast. I thought I didn't like I just didn't like it.
Yeah,
Sorry
That's
about
because you were
that.
burned by the Saturn, but yeah, go on.
Possibly there might be some of that to it, but also every game that I played on it just seemed like not that great. All right, go on.
Shame, real shame. Sambone Solo. Just finished this week's pod, last week's pod. Cracking episode, I thought. Loving the fact that James now associates not finishing games so strongly with Matt that the mere mention of only playing 5 hours of Yakuza briefly turned Dave into Matt in James's head. That he's just so obsessed with the fact that Dave didn't finish Yakuza that he just automatically...
Psychological issues there, James, is what you're suggesting.
No, it wasn't that. It was just I was tired. But go on. It's,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Speaking of tired, Jucifer, in follow-up to last podcast discussion about his question about the news, the first part of his wondering was mainly due to the fact James saying on the pod, before the last... I should have edited this before.
Not this again. Why are we ragging on this again? It's just... The news was good last week. and then you're bringing this up again. Why?
Look, this is a follow-up section. There's follow-up from the listeners. Basically, you said last week, James, that doing news was tedious to you, and it took you one Monday morning lunch.
Never said it was tedious. I just said that I do it on a Monday lunch break.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Well, I'll continue. Which led me to believe his process might just be to read what was happening on the news on Monday, then gather them up in a list, or going through the whole week's news on the lunch break. My bad. Now, I'm not James, but as a gamer, I tend to read a lot of gaming news during the week, and as such, would not think it hard or tedious just to pick up the links onto the articles he thinks are worth talking about. Great work on the podcast. As Evan on the pod said, you did some real journalism last week, and I love the effort you put in. So, do you read news during the week, James, or just on Mondays?
Of course I read news during the week, but I'm not reading something, that would be good for the pod. I don't do that.
Why not?
Yeah, that's exactly what we should be doing.
What's the point? I just do it. I just look at everything that's come out over the last week since we last recorded.
You mean everything that's posted on the Eurogamer's front page?
Basically, yes, and then decide which ones I think may be interesting to talk about. Why
James, I don't want to rag on you too much, right? Because it's not your episode to get shouted at, it's Matt's. I mean,
when's John's?
When he does something as bad as you've done.
Matt.
Yes, John.
Calm down now.
Mate, I am calm.
Okay.
I'm very chilled out.
James, don't you constantly think of things to say on the podcast, during the week? Because I do. I obsess over that stuff.
Yeah, clearly, Dave.
No, because also the other reason I do it this way is because if you wait a couple of days, you can then also see which things are still gaining traction and which things are still interesting.
Bollocks, isn't it? That is bollocks. That's not the reason why you do it. You're just lazy. Just admit it. Own it.
Yeah, but why is it lazy? I just do it on one day rather than just doing it all week. Why is that lazy?
Well, never mind.
Why does it matter?
Okay, do what you want. Do what you want. Do what you want. Go on.
Okay, right. Richard Davison, ready for the dullest response to a question that pretty much didn't need answering about Sea of Thieves Day 1 server scaling. Here's the answer. Basically, Amazon servers that they use have auto-scaling. So our issues a couple of weeks ago about whether they even could pay for enough server space to deal with Sea of Thieves demand is negated because Amazon servers do it themselves. You're right, Richard.
So what you're saying is that
but also very informative.
Yeah,
that
but
wasn't
also
the problem.
They'd be on Microsoft's one, wouldn't they? They'd be on Azure, which is that the same?
I mean, I don't know. I'm just reading the tweets.
We don't know. Next.
79 UK. Last week we had a debate whether I think it's a listener question about which would you rather have for the rest of your life if you had to, either Japanese studios or Western studios. Alex 79 UK says the Japan/Western debate gets more difficult for me when you remember Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Resident Evil, Metal Gear Solid, all Japanese. Not sure I could lose Rockstar, Naughty Dog, BioWare, Ubisoft, and Bethesda though. So
there's no way. Matt was giving it the big one last week. I'd rather lose Western. There's no way. There's no way that you still believe that.
If it wasn't for Nintendo, just knowing there was one good Nintendo game a year is enough. If to have that, but never having that, it's good to have that.
Never having a Rockstar game again, Matt.
Well, yeah, that's also an issue. But
Matt,
yes, John.
You wouldn't be able to play Fortnite anymore.
Yeah, John, that's literally the line you trolled out last week.
I can't believe Matt. I can't believe Matt.
You're literally repeating lines from last week. So have you got anything a bit newer, John, or are you just going to use the Fortnite line again?
I tell you what.
I'm going to use the Fortnite line again, Matt.
Okay, well done. You did that. Don't think you need to cut the laughs out there, Dave.
Next week's last fucking hell. Next week's live show is going to be tense. And I'm not even joking. Because it's the first time we were supposed to be meeting up a few weeks ago, and John couldn't make it down because it was snowing, and they haven't seen each other. Matt and John haven't seen each other for a long time now, and all the shit that's gone on this podcast, I don't know what it's going to be like.
The thing is, Dave, it's the podcast's all funny and we have a laugh and have a go at each other and whatnot. But I'm not really like that. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying, Matt. I'm not really that.
I don't quite understand it. Do you want to go on a bit further?
Dave does.
Well, no, I don't know. Come on, and neither the listeners probably.
Matt, okay, you're gonna have to stop.
I don't have much of an off switch when it comes to this sort of stuff. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
Okay, well,
it's not easy for me to turn it on and off the funny banter.
Clearly,
John,
that's what I'm saying.
Would you say you're the sort of person that holds grudges?
Yeah.
John, would you say that you're the sort of person that could kill a man?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm so sorry, John.
Fucking hell. Okay, all right. Is that it for the feedback?
That is it, yeah. Not a lot of feedback this week, but if you want to leave us feedback or a question or well wishes to me or anyone else, you can email thecomputergameshow@gmail.com or you can hit us up on Twitter at ComputerGamePod.
Okay. James, you came out with a gold star from the news last week with the journalism, the actual journalism you did. I'm excited to see what you got for us this week. I can't wait to see what sources you've got.
I think you said interesting stories that generate conversation and they're still newsworthy in a few days after. So go, James.
Matt, look, can you stop just being such a dickhead? Like, seriously.
Yeah, I mean, really.
It's like, why are you still doing this now?
What, the
Like,
podcast?
after all that's happened for the last couple of 10 minutes or I don't know, an hour or whatever that this has been going on for, why are you still trying to dig me out at this stage?
It's fun. Here's the news. Come on, James.
Anyway, Steam machines have been delisted from Valve's website.
Next.
And Matt, fuck off. What is wrong with you?
Honestly, I reckon you could send this into a psychiatrist and get like a proper. There's got to be some name for what Matt's doing right now. I mean, he's been caught out big time, and now he is lashing out like at everyone. He's lashing out at everyone. He's really going for it.
I mean, obviously, this is actually annoying me now. I'm getting a bit annoyed because this is just ridiculous.
Look, just read the Steam Machines news.
Okay, what is this?
Jesus, mate.
What is the Steam Machines news?
But if this episode was on camera, you'd look at me and go, oh, right, yeah, Matt should probably stop right about now.
Look, I want to stop. I just want to walk off this now. Cause it's
Walk off this?
God, this is getting serious. Okay. Okay, let's try and get through it. James.
Okay, so anyway, what's happened here is obviously like Valve were promoting before this idea of like the Steam machines, whereby you lay down money for these machines which are like Steam compatible or whatever. So
yeah, because I mean, it all come about when they had those wacky controllers and stuff, didn't they? And that was kind of what they were pushing with these things. They had, what was it? They quoted a number. It was like 150 Steam boxes on sale, and they were really pushing this at one point.
Well, and then what happened was that the link to buying the machines was removed. But apparently this happened a while ago and no one noticed. And then,
God, that is depressing, isn't it?
Which isn't a good sign. So then Valve has now come out and said that, yes, they've been removed from the navigation link, but you can still buy them. But then they've also admitted that they don't sell well and that they haven't really been much of an uptake. I mean, I think part of that is probably because, I mean, the prices start at 450 quid and then go as high as $1,000. Which is like quite a lot, and they're all made by like Alienware and like other sort of like PC manufacturers. But it seems that it hasn't really like caught on as they were expecting to. But then they did say that they're still going to keep focusing on this like Vulkan graphics API, which works on like Linux and also Mac OS and iOS. And it just seems now that the Steam, like the machines initiative is done, but that they're going to continue with the Steam OS stuff. That's going to continue on. But yeah, the machines never really caught fire, which is...
So are we to assume now that the idea of PCs under the telly is kind of not dead, but taking a severe hit?
I wouldn't say so at all. I think actually it just means that these pre-packaged, expensive versions of PCs aren't required because people can build their own PCs in like, I'm not sure if they call it mini, but basically whatever the micro ATX cases are. Like you can build really small PCs without need for this Steam machine, initiative. So I think people could do it on their own, and probably they are doing it on their own without having to spend the money that these Steam machines, prepackaged Steam machines, are costing.
But you see, also the other point of this was to try and move away from Windows. So that they, it'd be running like Linux, and then they had more control over everything rather than it being, like Windows still being kind of required. But yeah, it doesn't seem to have hasn't caught on. I mean, what do you think?
See, Linux to me has always felt like something that has never really taken on in the mass market. Anyway, I mean, you say Linux to the average person, they ain't got a fucking clue. If you say, a Mac or PC, they know exactly what they're getting. They know what Windows is. They may not know what Mac OS is, but they know what it looks like. Whereas Linux, still to me, is kind of weird, and I'm a nerd. Like, I wouldn't even know what to expect when to load up a Linux machine. Like, what would you even see? I'm that
You haven't used
detached from
KDE?
that world.
You haven't used like
No,
KDE
I
or
don't.
GNOME or anything like that? Okay.
Nope, no idea what that is. No idea. So maybe I'm just the wrong market and I'm
You
out
don't
of
know
it.
what
But
KBE
clearly
is?
this hasn't. Nick, clearly I don't. No, yeah, clearly I'm not
Neither
part of
does
that
Matt,
world.
by the sound of it. But,
I love KBE. It's great. It's a great program.
John, am I out of touch here? Because you've probably been the closest thing to a PC gamer that we've got on this podcast, right?
Well, I've got a PC.
Yeah, that's about it.
And are you a gamer?
That qualifies you.
Yeah. So, what was the question? Do I know about Linux, or
Do you know about Linux?
Steam boxes?
Yeah, Steam boxes.
Nah,
if
man,
they
I
ever
never
interest
fuck with
you?
Linux. I don't really. I mean, I know like what Linux is, and some people get excited. Oh, you can install Linux on a PS3 or whatever. I was like, I don't. I neither care nor know what that means. But yeah, Steam boxes. I remember when everyone was talking about them, and they were going to take over the world, and consoles were dead, and all this sort of stuff. But like even Steam itself, I mean, at one point was like the absolute sort of bastion of digital stores, and now I don't know. It's kind of Steam's a bit shit, to be honest.
Yeah,
like,
really?
It's just absolutely drowning in shit.
Yeah,
like endless junk.
They changed all of the policies for that. Like, there's been so much stuff that are just sort of like texture swaps and things like that of just people just like ripping off each other's games and all that kind of stuff, and like anything you can kind of release on it now, and it is drowning in crap. Basically,
should we look at the new releases on Steam?
Yeah,
it's right in front of me. Yeah, let's do it.
They also started saying TV shows and software, and it's basically like the App Store issue where it's just a million game. Well, there's lots of games released every week, and it's hard to keep up with it.
But this is why, like they said, like a lot of people, like a lot of the devs have been moving to like Switch and everything because there's more opportunity there now than there is on Steam. Like if you release stuff on Steam, it's like you're not getting anywhere with it anymore.
Sorry, John.
Let's check out the new releases. Okay, we got Charlotte, which is a game people have heard of. Among the Dead, Griefer, Achievement Hunter, Cat, Tower, ! 3D Pro, EDDM Airport, Russian Peace Duck, Take My Nalogi, don't know, hope that's not a racist word, Rethink Evolved 2, Lobotomy Corporation, Monster Management Simulator, 5 different MX versus ATV all-out versions, Super Weekend Mode, Akhenaten, Ruler's Pharaoh, and VR Kanojo is the front page of new releases. So yeah, good luck trying to find what you actually want.
You know what I hear less and less of? I remember Steam sales used to be a massive thing, but I don't hear of them that much.
Steam sales are still massive, but there's just lots more of them now. Like, I mean, the summer sale is still big, and the maybe it was autumn or Christmas, but there seems like there are sales and promotions on all the time, which is, I guess, ultimately good for gamers, but it's less of an event, I think.
But the thing has been that like, the big complaint with this has been that it's just the sheer volume of stuff now that gets released. It just makes it really difficult to actually sort of sift through what's good, because there's just so much stuff getting out. I mean, wasn't it like it's I don't know the numbers, but it was like just an insane amount that was like they said in like the month of like 2 months or whatever, they'd like more games have been released than over the entire history of the service and stuff like that, and it's just that's insane. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I still don't see how that's a major problem. Like, surely the good stuff gets found.
No, that doesn't really got anything to do with a story. It's just another issue with Steam.
I don't really use it, so I can't really comment on that.
If you went on Steam like 5 years ago compared to, and you came from consoles, you'd be like, what the fuck? Why don't I just get a PC and do this? Like, the storefront's brilliant. This is before, you remember, that the digital stores on the consoles were any good at all. So, and also, you know, like, it was very different. There was no sales or anything like that on the ones on console. All you had was like the games. It took forever to download them. They were more expensive than they were in the shops. Then you go on Steam, the games are half the price they are even in the shops. There's loads of like cool indie games. It's nicely curated. It was really cool. You can have your friends list all integrated in there. Of course, that stuff's still in there, but then it moved into a lot of the like sort of tat trading that you get on there now, like selling the in-game items and that kind of third-party markets and all that sort of stuff. And like we just talked about the fucking trash that's on there. It's not that it's difficult to find great games, because obviously they still get curated up and things like that, but it's more like the decent games, the games that would have had a chance to shine, are just getting drowned in endless crap. Like the indie games that would have once got the chance to be showcased. I mean, you don't hear so many of those stories now. It's more like the follow-ups from those studios, the follow-ups from Team Meat, the follow-ups from the guy who made Spelunky. Like the new indie success stories coming through Steam. It's just people are having to look elsewhere. They're having to use different services, GMG and itch.io and things like that, just to get noticed. Because it's just, I mean, like Steam to me is just it's just junk these days. Like, when was
the last like big indie title that sort of took over? Was it Rocket League, or has there been something since?
PUBG?
Of course, PUBG.
Yeah,
that's fair. Probably is the last big one. So yeah, I mean, it's not a total disaster, is it? It's just
no. But it's just got way worse, and the digital storefronts on the consoles have got way better. In my opinion, the Xbox Store and the PlayStation Store are better now, just because you're getting the sales that you got. They're better curated. There's less utter, you're not getting absolutely drowned in garbage.
See, I don't use Steam at all anymore, and I'm just wondering, is it still got is it got the same problem that iOS has got, in the sense that is it all just like Battle Royale clones now? Like, is it just like loads and loads of like PUBG rip-offs and stuff?
I mean, it's not as bad as mobile. Like, I'm on Android as well, so it's even worse than iOS. It's definitely not that bad, and I don't think people have the budgets to make like PC level BR clones. Really, it's more just like. I can't be too mad at it. It's more just people putting together a real basic game using like quite often ripped off assets, or just basic stuff that they bought off the Unity store, and they're trying, and it's a place for them to put their game out there. And I respect it in that sense, but from a consumer point of view, it's just you just look at it and you're like, oh. Like, why am I having to look at all this crap?
I've seen quite a lot of videos of stuff like that where it is just like real, just rubbish, and it just feels like people just put it up there just to hope that maybe they'll get a couple of dollars or whatever for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Imagine walking into a game shop that would happen to be the size of Toys R Us, and like everything on the shelf that ever came out was on there, and you had to sift through that to find what you wanted. Yeah, you can still find Far Cry, and you can still find God of War, whatever it is you want to buy, the big games, but like, yeah, the sort of the medium games, the AA games, the games that could be good. It's just, I don't know, it's just a nightmare. And it's messy. It's messy as shit. I don't want to look at that. Turn it off.
Okay, right. Next story.
Okay, this is for John. There's a Life is Strange comic series coming.
Oh, I got excited for a minute there.
I saw this. I don't know. I've got no interest really.
It's a 4-part series set in Arcadia Bay, and they said it's going to feature beloved characters, but no details on who they are exactly. And
I've got no interest in these crossovers. One of my favourite things about that game is the soundtrack and the characters interacting with each other, and I can't get that out of the comics. I'll pass. But if you like it, get it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that because this is it's not like a massive deal. I didn't think Life is Strange really. Like, in terms of, like, everybody playing and everything, and, like, spin-offs and stuff.
Oh, I think it did very well. I think it did very well. Yeah. I mean, my word. They wouldn't be bringing out a sequel if it didn't do well, so they know what they're doing. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. I'm not gonna get that.
Next story is Lawbreakers developer is now moving on. And
John.
Another John one.
Yeah, I saw this today. I saw this story today on Eurogamer, and I'm like, yeah, fair play. It's because it also... closed up shop, basically, didn't it? Lawbreakers, finally, which was a shame. But I saw this going into some, like, super early access, right? So 80-style Battle Royale game with BMXs and things. I'm like, all right. You know, they can fucking make a shooting game. There's no two ways about that. They're some of the best around. So it's out tomorrow. Like, I think it's out on the Tuesday, right?
Out tomorrow, yeah.
So yeah, I'll probably download it tomorrow and see what it's all about.
Slow down. What? Their new game is out tomorrow?
I know. I was about
to say
Lawbreakers 2.
Sorry, James.
No, right. Everyone's talking over each other. What's this game called?
It's called Radical Heights, and it's a shooter which is like a battle royale shooter set in the 80s, and I think like John said, it's out. I think it's tomorrow, and it's basically like what they're calling extreme early access, as in they've basically just thrown everything together. So
brilliant. As if early access wasn't early enough. Now it's extreme early access.
Yeah, and it's like the core gameplay there is complete, but apparently there's like placeholders for like character models, animation, sound, and even the buildings. It's sort of like everything is like just sort of in flux. With Lawbreakers, they've said that they're not actually shutting it down. It's going to continue, but it's just they're not going to add like nothing, no more resources, nothing else is going to like be put into it at all. It's just going to be supported in its current state. You see, what was interesting about this is they were talking, because a lot of people said, why didn't they just move that over to the free-to-play model? And they said that they couldn't do that because it would cost a lot of money to do that. Because it's not just sort of like making it free, it's also because then you've got to like market it and advertise it and all that kind of thing to try and like build up the player base again, and it wouldn't work so much. Because like apparently in March, the peak number of players active on Lawbreakers was 25, which is, I mean...
Jesus, man.
That's really not good.
That's John and two others.
Yeah, it's not so good. So now they've moved on.
Why does John count for 23?
Oh, sorry, actually, I thought you read a different stat there because at the time of writing, only 3 players were online.
At the time of who was writing, Matt?
At the time this article was written.
Yeah. Anyway, so the thing is, right, so they've moved on to this 80s like shooter, which, as I said, is Radical Heights. But I know. Did anyone see the trailer? Because I thought it looked not bad, really.
No, I didn't see it.
I didn't actually watch the trailer, no.
I mean, it looks really, really super cynical, like the whole thing. But it's still, like you said, the shooting it looked good. Like that sort of side of stuff looked pretty good. But there's a lot of competition now with this stuff in there. But I don't know.
Well, what does it offer that's different to other, battle royale style shooters?
BMXs, David, and it's set in the 80s.
But BMX is what? It's just got different vehicles in it.
It's got people riding on BMX bikes with 80s soundtrack playing, and so
neon lights.
Yeah, I mean, they don't seem to be learning a lesson, do they? The main complaint about Lawbreakers was that one of the problems was that aesthetically, and the themes of the game, what you're actually doing in the game was so similar to everything else that's out there that it sort of slipped not under the radar, but it didn't pique anyone's interest. And if you're coming at us with another Battle Royale game, but with different types of vehicles, I can't see that getting people involved either.
Do you know what it looked a bit like to me? It looked a bit like Blood Dragon, like that kind of sort of style that they were sort of going for.
I'm still not convinced here, but okay, I'll have to check out the trailer.
At least it's free, though.
Yeah, at least
it's free. Yeah.
I would like to check out. I'm surprised that there's not 100. There's like a battle royale racing game out. That makes so much sense to me. You know how they do that? After 2 minutes, whoever's in last place gets eliminated. It would be fun, but the race, if you want to finish first, would go on for about 4 hours, wouldn't it? So maybe not.
I'm sure at E3 we're going to see that, and probably a million other types of battle royale games.
I guarantee I'd like that. I guarantee I'd like a racing game where you can even knock each other off the track and knock them out of the race.
Yeah, and then every 2 minutes. Point-to-point Trackmania, that would go really well. Like
it'd be circuit, because a point-to-point, the fucking road will have to be so long. But
it would ensure it's not a 7-hour game if it's point-to-point and there's maybe no borders.
So this would be a bit like Micro Machines, David. Like,
What's that?
It'd be a bit like Micro Machines. You remember that?
Yeah, a bit like Micro Machines, yeah. Let's just release Micro Machines again. I'm up for that. I'm always up
it's
for
really
that.
bad.
That's a shame. That is a shame. Yeah. Right, okay, next.
Okay, so last one we got is some PUBG developers are fed up with the mobile clones that's been going on, because PUBG Corp has now filed a lawsuit against NetEase for copyright infringement, trade dress infringement, and unfair business competition because of their 2 mobile titles, which were called Rules of Survival and Knives Out. And they're basically saying that NetEase directly copied Battlegrounds gameplay and the aesthetic. And there's like a whole, because these games came out on mobile before PUBG, but they're still saying that they've misled the consumer because they're trying to gain market share. Do you want to know some of the things that they ripped off, apparently?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I can tell you that I've done a bit of research on this story, because I did download, was it Rules of Engagement? Is that one of them?
Rules of Survival.
Rules of Survival. I did download that and play a round of that today.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it feels exactly the same as the PUBG mobile game. I don't know where the line is crossed, because we've spoken about this before. Like, you can take someone's game mode and you can't own the idea of an army game with army characters in it. So where is the line crossed? Why do they think they've got a case against this over, say, Fortnite, for example?
Well, these are the things that they're saying that they've ripped off directly. So there's the pre-game lobby and the waiting area, the opening air jump system. So Fortnite's got all those things,
one. Let's go through this one by one. So the pre-game lobby area is in Fortnite, right? So that's in pretty much every one of these games. Go on. What's the next one?
The opening air jump system.
Okay, again, Fortnite's is the same as PUBG's, is it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's shaky ground because it's like Just Cause, and that's not a
This is
multiplayer
what I'm
game.
saying.
Medal of Honor Airborne.
Okay.
Then we got the shrinking play zone.
Okay, go on.
Bombardment zones.
Yep.
The down but not out mechanic.
Okay.
Right, I mean,
that's
God,
been
that is
Gears
big-
of War
that's-
and all sorts.
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah,
Halo.
I'm sorry. Yeah, you can get sued for that then. Good luck.
So then we've also got locations, vehicles, weapons, and clothing that all look very similar. That was another thing, but that's all just like generic weapons, surely, like that kind of stuff.
It's all generic weapons. It's all generic vehicles. Now, and don't get me wrong, I'm not ragging on PUBG for this, because it is harsh. They've brought out a game and people have taken their idea and got to mobile quicker, or, in terms of Fortnite, got to consoles quicker than they did with a very, very similar idea. Now, don't get me wrong, Fortnite is wildly different from PUBG. I think it's a different kettle of fish compared to these mobile clones. But you need to, when it comes to copyright law, it needs to be black and white. And the stuff they're accusing them of here, I don't think they own.
Well, there's also, they've also tried to claim ownership of the frying pan as well, because they said that that's never been in a shooting game. Yeah, they said it's never been in a shooting game before PUBG. Was their argument? But apparently, though, NetEase have also allegedly used the phrase "winner winner chicken dinner" in their marketing. As a thing. So that was like the other reason.
But again, how can they own that phrase? That phrase has been around for years.
No, but they can say that that's like directly associated with PUBG, and that it's like a thing which is. They can't copyright that as a phrase, but they can still say that it's like it's so associated with our brand that it's that they're using it to sort of grab market share.
Can they, though? Can they?
I feel like that's a better case. I'm not a copyright lawyer, obviously, but I feel like that's a better case in some of those gameplay ones.
Yeah.
And I think it's a dangerous precedent. It's a very, very dangerous precedent to go down that route. I basically think, fair enough if it looks like aesthetically from a marketing point of view, I get some of that stuff. But when you start trying to copyright gameplay ideas, you find yourself in trouble, I think, in that situation, because there's plenty of stuff in PUBG that's been in plenty of shooters beforehand. They seem to, okay, we're just going to take that for granted, are we? Aiming down sights? You didn't invent that, Brendan Green, did you? You didn't invent aiming down sights. You didn't invent crouching. You didn't invent cover. You didn't invent fucking looting. I think it's a dangerous precedent. It's very, very dangerous precedent.
But thereafter, PUBG Corp wants all of these games removed from distribution and £150,000 worth of damages done for it.
I think these countries just concentrate on what they're doing. They're making money hand over fist. Yeah, Fortnite's done well, but I get you having to be litigious and protect your brand, but I think they should just concentrate on what they're doing. What's
also interesting, because these clone games, they're not even. It's not like they're made by some small time chancers either. Because NetEase is massive. They're the 16th. Biggest company in the world, above Spotify and Twitter. And, PUBG, they're owned by Tencent, who, they're the 5th largest company in the world, just behind Facebook. But it's I think they've got money to, fight this if they wanted to, but, yeah, I don't really see that this is how this is going to get resolved, really.
It's like John says, basically, they've got to fight this, even if they don't think they're going to win, because the moment they don't, people will just say, or if there's any other copyright cases, they can say, well, you didn't fight for that one. And so, yeah, I think they just have to legally do this, even if they don't believe in the actual reason for doing it.
Why did you say that's just like John said? That's nothing like what I said.
I thought you mentioned something about copyright law and you used a word I can't remember. So I was fairly sure I was echoing your point.
Well, as far as I'm aware, when it comes to copyright law within video games, you own the assets and you own the code. Right, so if they're not using any of the code or any of the assets from the game, I don't think there's a case.
No, I don't think it works like that. Because there's also I think because you can't you copyright look and feel as well of stuff.
No, of course you can't. How do you write that down? How do you make that How do you copyright a look and feel?
I don't know.
Oh, it sort of looks like this, and it feels a bit like
This has
that.
got a frying pan,
Okay.
isn't
We don't know. We need to this week. Yeah,
we don't.
We don't know.
I mean, the interesting thing
No,
about
but
this is
you can understand that law has to be in black and white. There has to be a line to be crossed. You can't just say, you could probably copyright look and feel.
Oh no, you can. I just looked it up. It's yeah.
What is it? What are you on Google?
Okay, shall I read it to you? What it says here?
Yeah, what is your source here?
Okay, well, this is Wikipedia, because this also goes back to lawsuits there's been over this. Because this was how there was the whole thing with Windows and everything as well, which was, they got sued over that. So look, in software design, look and feel is a term used in respect of a graphical user interface and comprises aspects of its design, including elements such as colours, shapes, layout and typefaces, as well as the behaviour of dynamic elements such as button, boxes and menus. So that could easily apply to games as well, like the look and feel of how something is done.
It could do, but when has there been a case where that's happened? I mean, how many games have stolen Destiny's cursor, hold down the button to select stuff system in menus? Like loads of games have done that.
Video game lawsuits and have a look. Probably...
All right, fair enough. We don't know enough, but I'd be very surprised if this actually.
But even that stuff is not what I would be concerned about. It's more the mechanics, the gameplay mechanics that they're claiming are their ideas, where they're standing on the shoulders of giants and on so much of that stuff.
Yeah,
the circle and stuff. Yeah, fine, okay, but like some of the other stuff, down but not out. Are you kidding me?
And of course, when you're talking about the circle, for example, that applies to so many games now that are doing that. And I mean, how do you go for these guys and not Fortnite?
Well, that's the interesting thing that they've focused on these, and I mean, it feels maybe Fortnite's too big. I don't know.
That makes sense because they're both from the same company anyway. Because like PUBG Corp is owned by Tencent, and Epic Games are owned 40% by Tencent. So they're the same umbrella company.
Maybe they were told to pipe down when they start. We're all conjecture. We don't know. Okay, but it'd be interesting to see how this unfolds and what sort of ramifications it'll have for the rest of the industry, because it doesn't sound like a good idea to be trying to claim things like this.
It's one of those things, right, that sounds like a good idea, because you're like, okay, it's coming from a good place. These people are ripping off our ideas. We shouldn't be able to do that, right? It's just a classic one of those things that sounds like a good idea. It's even like the free speech thing. But when it actually comes to the reality of trying to put into law about like copywriting these ideas, then like the actual ramifications of that are fucked.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I think that's why just concentrate on what you're doing. Concentrate on you. Like you've got one of the biggest games in the world, basically the biggest game in the world. Just concentrate on you. You're listening, they're listening, so they'll do that now. Sweet. I fixed it. John's fixed it.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
James, it's interesting how there was no actual journalism done there.
No, what am I going to do? I'm going to phone up. Like,
you googled that thing just then.
I'm going to phone up like PUBG Corp.
Googled that thing.
Well, you could do.
I don't know. I was just expecting, after last week, I was expecting better things from you. But at least to have played one of the games that you're talking about.
I'll get on the phone to Gabe Newell next time and ask him about the Steam machines.
Have a word with him. Try and find out why he loves fucking Linux so much.
So it's a solid news section, in my opinion, James.
There's still more news.
I enjoyed it.
No, there's no more news.
There's more news.
There's not. There's no more news that I put in there, so let's move on.
I put another link in there.
Well, you may have done, but you're not in charge of the news, Matt.
Okay. So you know what, James? I'm proud of you for that.
Right, okay. What have we been playing this week? Let's start off with James, I think.
Okay, so see, I've been playing A Way Out. Shall I leave that for a minute and then we can come back to that?
Let's go through the Way Out stuff, because we've all completed that game now. John and I completed it on Thursday night. You guys completed it on what, Wednesday?
No, Saturday. We completed
Saturday.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. So last week when we spoke about it, you'd only played the first hour or so you hadn't really had a feel for the game. What do you think?
It's not a very good game, is it? But it is really fun to play, like in like co-op. I mean, I had a really great time. It was really, really funny and really, really fun. But mostly because we were playing together, not really because of the game. I mean, it looks like a PS3 game and it plays like one. It's and also the plot, it makes no sense at all. But then that's part of the fun as well. It's although the ending was ruined for us in our stream, so yeah, it wasn't so good.
Why is that?
Somebody came into the stream and told us the ending just before we got to it.
Oh, you're kidding me?
Yeah, seriously.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Someone completely unknown to like?
Yeah, Master Gamer 770. If you're listening,
What is he? What? He was just completely unknown to us. He's never been on the thing before. He just popped in and told you the ending.
Came in and said, by the way, and I was like, James, do not read the chat. Do not read the chat. I think that's spoilers been dropped. I've already read it. It's like, oh.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
What a shit way to do
it's
that.
just as well we weren't emotionally invested in the story because we sort of laughed off, and at that point we were basically pissed anyway. So, but so it was sort of funny, but it was a bit annoying. But I'm glad it wasn't a game we were really, really emotionally invested in. We'll be gutted. I
will tell you this, right? I was a little bit more impressed with the game once I'd watched you guys stream it. Because, John, there was a hell of a lot of stuff in that game that I thought was scripted, but it's not.
Oh, really? Well, like...
Yeah, there was a ton of stuff. Like, they couldn't get... You struggled to get the code for the safe in the shop during the when you were robbing the store, right?
Right, yeah.
What I didn't realise, John, is that we absolutely smashed that segment of the game. Like, we were both in our... Yeah, we were both in our... we were both in our places. When I was behind the scenes finding the safe, you were still holding up the shop clerk, and you managed to get the code out of her, and then you shouted it across, and I pumped it into the
that's mostly
into the safe, open it all up.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. Yeah.
Apart from
you
James
both ran
up.
in to try and... Didn't you? What happened? You both ran in to try and find the safe, and then she called the police while you're in there or something.
No, it was okay. Matt went off into the back room and then got grabbed by somebody, and then I went back in there.
Yeah, got grabbed by someone. We didn't get grabbed by anyone, did we?
No. We got out in the car.
Yeah, there's loads of stuff that happened in their playthrough that didn't happen in ours.
That's cool.
Yeah, it made me respect the game a little bit more, actually. It felt really different when they were playing it. So, sorry, you got grabbed by that person.
Yeah, and then he was panicking, and so then I went in and tried to help him. I tried to shoot the guy, but it wouldn't let you. Because, you can't shoot anybody in that game. And you just, every time you try and do it, it shoots in the air. And but then I ended up punching him anyway. Then I ran back out again, and she picked up a gun and then just shot me, and I got killed. And then we had to do it again. And,
And then it was like, one of the things we didn't mention last week is that scattered throughout the game, there are little mini games you can play. And I think when we were up to last week, John, they were just real basic. Well, they're all really basic, but they were kind of like, oh, this is just something little we can do, like throw darts at a dartboard and stuff like it. Horseshoes. It didn't really feel like there was much weight to any of the games or that they were worth playing more than once. But then we had the arm wrestle, which was fucking incredible. So you both sit down together, and suddenly you're not working together. You're competing in these games. And the arm wrestling one, you literally just tap the square button for as long as you can. I watched Matt and James play it, and to be fair, it was funny. The video's up on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. Watch that. They lasted about 30 seconds before James laughed so hard that he nearly passed out. Right?
Yeah, it was brilliant.
John and I lasted for over 4 minutes, and I know this because I recorded it and then went back to edit it, and it was way too long to put the full thing on Twitter.
You were tapping for 4 minutes?
4 minutes.
Oh my God, I can't believe that.
John won it in the end, but my arm was absolutely caned, like the tops of my arms. I just thought, I can't do this no more. And I was really still trying to tap that button as John won it, but he got. I
could have gone another 10 minutes easily. I don't know why. I don't know why I can do that for so long, but yeah, I was fine. But I felt bloody weird for ages after. Like basically the rest of the night, I felt weird, mainly because of the screaming. Yeah, I think I went a bit too far. I got a lot out there. I got a lot of aggression out there. That was good. There was an empty house for once. Yeah, I just had a full-on Conor McGregor scream. So that was good.
Then there was Connect 4. Play
Connect 4 was brilliant.
You got me nicely. there, Dave, to be fair.
Yeah, I done you on that one. I was screaming.
How long was your Connect 4 game?
It wasn't as long as yours. It was over pretty quickly. But I was screaming when watching YouTube play because it was there was so many opportunities where I was like, you would never ever put a disc there. Like, especially because I was rooting for James, because we all picked sides in the chat before you started playing. And I just pick James. And I'm going, James, do not put the counter there. Do not put it there. And then at one bit, so they'd had this massive long game of Connect 4. Nearly all the spaces were open and were closed off with counters. And James put one down, and I just went, James, he's won. He's got 2 opportunities to win now, so you can't do anything. And you were just like, oh, I don't know why I did that. Oh, that was a bit silly, wasn't it? And then Matt just put the last one down and won it. So what was quite good is during their stream, John, whoever lost one of those little mini games had to down a drink. So by the end of it, they were fucking hammered. Yeah. Like James can't drink much anyway, and he was like, "I've had 4 beers." And then there's this little arcade game that you can play.
Yeah,
Grenade Brothers is brilliant, although it's slightly glitchy. But it was the Grenade Brothers was one where the drinking was really really hard because I think did I win the first one, James?
No, I won.
Did
all
I lose
of those.
all of them?
Yeah, you lost more. Then you had to do one drink after another, like quite quickly, and that was quite funny.
But it was a great game, that Grenade Brothers.
So we can't really spoil the ending. I think it's too early to spoil the ending, but I think that was the best part of the game, and I really enjoyed it. And what happened to us, John? I can talk around it a little bit. What happened to us? It was the opposite of what happened to us happened to them.
Okay.
And what was great is that Matt was going, well, this is all scripted, so this means nothing. But it turns out that no, the whole ending was different, and what happened to them was completely different to what happened to us, and I thought that was quite impressive. I think ultimately though, James, you're right, and I'm struggling with this one as well, because while we were playing it, John, we were like, what is this bollocks? I hope it ends soon. Where the fuck is this story going? The dialogue is awful.
So bad.
But I look back on it and think we had such a laugh playing that game that I can't dislike. Like, we're not reviewing it, right? We didn't have to write a review in that term. So the critical eye was slightly off. Had it been on, you can tear that game to pieces. But because we had such a good laugh for it, I will always have a fond memory of playing through that game.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there's things to praise it for, like incredible variety of stuff that you're doing all in one game. None of it's good, but it's all okay. Like, all of it's passable. Like, it turns into a full-on third-person shooter at some point. There's driving sections.
That was awful.
I mean, none of it's great. Don't get me wrong. None of it's good. But it was all passable. And, dialogue, appalling story. I mean, I'm not one for picking out plot holes. It's a really annoying trend that has kind of replaced film criticism these days, just picking out plot holes in movies. But, like, I mean, Jesus Christ, these were like the Grand Canyon. I mean, these are just these were like fundamental broken storytelling issues that wouldn't pass like a GCSE script writing class if such a thing existed. But I mean, God, no, actually, I can't justify any of that. It was fucking appalling.
No, the story didn't even need 2 people in it. It didn't need 2 characters in it. Like, it didn't need that. It could all be done by one character, which made the whole, split screen thing utterly bizarre. And I kind of think it's a bit of a missed opportunity. I would like to have seen what they would have done had, as you said, James, last week, had it not been split screen. And as we were sort of speculating of what the game, because do you remember when I said, I reckon that at some point I'm going to find out something that you don't know, right? And someone pointed that out in the feedback. Matt didn't read it out, but someone pointed out in the feedback that, well, they can't do that because it's also local split screen. So, that doesn't really work. You can't feed information to one player and not the other if you're sitting next to them on the sofa. I would like to see a game do that forces co-op the way this game does, but doesn't force split screen. So you can muck around with certain information being fed to certain players, and you choosing whether to pass that information on.
I'm almost surprised if that happens.
You're
totally right. This does feel like a missed opportunity. It doesn't really do anything remotely clever with the whole split screen co-op thing at all. Like, there's nothing. There's both hold down our right trigger in our case playing on Xbox. Both hold down right trigger to do this thing together. But there's nothing about I know something, you don't know anything, or it's just there's no real clever mechanics. Arguably, it didn't need to be co-op at all. And it's a shame because I think someone will copy this and do all the clever things that we want. There's just relatively little clever stuff at all. Also, okay. I basically I wish the whole game was actually in a prison and nowhere else. I think they could have made it a really complex prison. Maybe had to, understand where guards went. Maybe had to take different jobs in the prison to dig out of areas. I think the whole thing was actually in the prison. It could have been much more complex, much more interesting game.
I see, because I think that's such a. I don't see how. That criticism I don't fully understand, because it's like I don't see what benefit you're getting from it just being in one location. What's the benefit?
If you increase the detail rather than just the weird, bizarre sort of like plot jumps, from one thing to another and things like that, would you wouldn't have that problem with it.
You're absolutely right, but I don't see why that can. I don't see it coming away from the prison as being a bad thing. In fact, I think the game gets noticeably better once you're out of prison. I don't agree with that
because the prison section is relatively thin, but I think given the option of them going to different locations and it being thin all over, if they're focused on just one location but much more detail, much more dense in that one location, I think they could have done a lot more interesting things.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like the co-op stuff, the best bit I thought in that was like, when we were trying to escape, through that toilet stuff. And we were like having to cooperate, like really probably having to cooperate to do that.
Telling
each other when there was anybody.
The biggest bit of collaboration you need, isn't it, in the game?
Yeah. And once you get out of the prison, there's not really any reason for you to stick together, really. I mean, there's a rubbish, plot reason for it, but it's a rubbish plot reason.
I like the chase sequence in the hospital. I like the fact it moved from player to player. That was
proper heavy rain, though. That was.
Oh god, yeah.
A lot of the chase sequence were like really, really heavy rain, which was quite funny.
At one point, it changes like a 2D brawler. That was a surprise.
Yeah.
That was really, really bizarre. Where it like goes not 2D, but when it goes isometric and there's little icons above your heads.
As well. There's the isometric chase.
That bit was really weird because it was for like 20 seconds.
Yeah,
I remember doing that and going,
yeah.
John turned. No, maybe our game was wrong then because it was literally for about 20 seconds. John just went, "Why is this happening now? Why is it all isometric and we've got little things above our heads?" And I went, "I don't know." And then we went, "Right, we're back to normal now." What was that about?
But the 2D bit was also weird.
Yeah,
what was the
I thought that was
hospital
the side to side on
where you're basically fighting men and you're like throwing a candlestick.
Oh yeah.
I figured he'd just. Have you seen the movie Old Boy, the Korean movie?
Yeah. Loads of people mentioning Old Boy in the chat.
Yeah, okay. I figured that was just a nod to that. Not earned. Not made no sense. But he obviously going, "I've seen Old Boy. Fuck the Oscars, I'm going to make Old Boy news section for no reason." But yeah, that's what I figured. Or like because it didn't even feel like a 2D game. It did feel like that scene from Old Boy. But yeah, by the end of it, it was just such a fucking mishmash of nonsense that I started to find it quite charming.
It was also like towards the end where we really began to realise it's like this is basically just like Uncharted 1, like the first Uncharted, with the shooting bits and everything. It felt so much like that, not in a good way.
Still, though, I mean, we're ragging it all day. Well, you can, but I had so much fun playing it, and it's a game that I'll remember. It's nowhere near being like a highlight of my year gaming, but I fucking there's not many games that would make me laugh as much as that game did, and some of it intentional, some of it, a lot of it not. You know,
it's a whole heap of fun. I wouldn't say it's bad. It's harmless.
The guy drilling into the top of the building for no reason.
Oh my god, that
John.
was funny.
Just absolutely no reason. He's on the roof of the building. He's just drilling.
So obviously we get to this building site and Dave starts picking holes in it because that's he's been on plenty of building sites. So it's not. To be honest, I would have never even noticed or thought twice about that guy drilling until he pointed out that he was basically drilling a roof, and if he got through, he's just going to fall to his death.
Yeah, someone talking to today made a really good point. Is that this game, all of the various parts of the game feel like if there's suddenly you're playing racing games, suddenly there's like an on foot bit, or if you're playing a shooting game, there's suddenly a racing bit. They all the separate sections feel like parts of the games that aren't core to actual gameplay. Like the couple of chase bits towards the end, just they totally reminded me of Driver for some reason. Maybe it's like the speed at which the cars are coming into the camera, but it reminded me of Driver a lot on the PS1 stuff. But the chases towards the end just crazy.
But yeah, I mean, if you've got a friend that you'll play for, basically this is it, and this is what it boils down to, right? If I've got a mate and he's got a close mate and they want to play a game through together and they say, "Should I get a way out?" I've got to say yes. I've got to say yes. I'll say play it.
You'll definitely have fun.
It's a lot of fun. I'll say don't expect much, right? Don't expect it to be like a brilliant game to play. Don't expect the story to be any good, but just play it and you will enjoy it. Then I'm confident with that recommendation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a classic 6 or 7 out of 10. It's like a flawed.
I wouldn't even.
No, it's not a 7 out of 10, Matt. That's ridiculous.
It's like a 5 or 6, I reckon.
Yeah, it's heavily flawed, but you'll definitely have fun out of it. And I loved our streams. I think our streams are getting funnier and funnier. Maybe that's due to the alcohol, but
I know. Somebody said it was just basically two alcoholics enabling each other. Like,
I think in our first time we talked about this, we said, "Oh, it's so po-faced. I wish there's more humour." Now looking back on it, I feel like the humour came from the fact it was trying to be quite serious. If it was trying to be funny, it probably wouldn't have hit. But the fact it was trying to be a relatively serious game, just made it more ridiculous when it went to proper heavy rain territory.
Yeah, some of the lines in it. Oh my god, the bit where he goes, no, what are you trying to say, you fucking idiot, or something like that. It was just the foreman on the building site talking to everyone like crap. Just, I had tears in my eyes, just some of the lines and how badly they were delivered. It was beautiful. Beautiful. Alright, that's a way out. That's not going to crop up on our Game of the Year list, I'm sure, but my word.
It's a good experience.
I'm going to forget it for a long time. Yeah, I can't, and we said this at the end as the credits rolled. I can't believe that was the dude that made Brothers.
Yeah, we said the same thing.
A game that has perfected a completely new way of gaming. You do stuff with a pad that you'll never do in any other game. A game that was so touching that by the end of it, I was close to tears. But, so emotionally moving. To this is just like, what is going on?
This game where for 1 6 or 7 minute period, all you hear is "you fucking asshole" and shit and you. It's just the writing is awful.
I mean, now that I know what Joseph Fares is like, I would have predicted that he made this game and not like you put those two games in front of me and say which game did Joseph Fares make? Well, definitely A Way Out. That seems like more him, but. I'd like to know how much influence he did have on Brothers, because my word is totally different. Okay, James, anything else on your list?
Yeah, I mean, I've played quite a few things. I mean, I finished Yakuza 6 this week, it's a really weird one for me to talk about, because although I did really enjoy it, and I did find the ending, like the end point, sort of satisfying, I didn't feel that the overall story like hung together very well this time compared with before, because it just felt like they went a bit too, like before. Most of the stories have been sort of focused on things which are kind of like realistic, like with sort of like real estate deals between like politicians and the Yakuza and stuff like that. Whereas this, they kind of went a bit far with it. But some of the themes the main themes of the story are like sort of legacy and family, and that is done like really, really well, because obviously this is like the last game that like Kiryu's going to be in, and it's just. Were
you satisfied with his ending? Because I'll tell you something. Once you told me you'd finished it, I looked it up on YouTube. I just looked up the ending, and I thought when I saw it, it's kind of bullshit. Yeah, I don't know the context. So, how did you feel?
This is the problem, because I mean, one of the other things about this is that a lot of like people that have played all of the games really seem to dislike this, like the way this concludes. But people that have played less maybe don't have so much of a problem with it, because the trouble is this character has had such like a massive like past and such a sort of development of character over the period that the games have come out. And the ending is a bit weak because of that, and it doesn't really feel. I mean, I felt reasonably satisfied with it, because it's really difficult to say without spoiling any of it. So
don't spoil it.
I don't want to say what happens, but I felt reasonably okay about it. I mean, what I got from this game was, this is the first game using a new engine, and it's also pretty clear that they know that a lot of the people that are going to play this are going to be people that have played like maybe Zero and Kiwami, but haven't played any of the others. Or maybe people that have played none of the Yakuza games before. So this game, it doesn't build on anything that's come before, really, which is also something which, if you're a newcomer to the series, that's probably like a good thing. But if you're somebody who's been really invested over time, then you're definitely going to feel let down by this, I think, because of that. But even, I mean, saying that, the thing that it does really well, which is done in all the other ones really well as well, is sort of building these characters and building the relationships. And it does it so well in this because there's like a whole bunch of new characters that it introduced, but I still felt as like strongly about these characters like by the end of this game as I had about previous ones, like in the series. You know, even though it was only just within one game, which was I know I was quite impressed with that. But there's a number of other things which are not so good about it. I mean, the combat system is much less satisfying this time round because of the modifications that have been made to it, and there definitely is much less to do than before. I mean, I said in the review I wrote, it's like it really feels with this one like they were funneling us down like through the main story. Like the other stuff is really not as important this time around. Like it even though you still get the sort of the really sort of good feeling of like being part of this like community and part of the city, particularly when you move to the other location, there's much less to do, and it just feels like this is like pushing you towards the conclusion. And I don't know, as I said, I felt reasonably satisfied with it, but still, I can't say why I felt reasonably satisfied with it. So yeah, I can't really say more about that. But okay. I mean, if it's one of those games where, I mean, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying, like, should I play this game first? Like, can I just play this? And I'd say, yeah, you can. But you probably, I don't know, this character, because of the way he's developed, the payoff should be because you've played a lot of the others, I think. You get more from it from that. I mean, one of the things that people really disliked about it is the fact that so few characters from the previous games are in it, apart from the annoying ones. And it's a shame. There's a couple that are missing that I really would have liked to have seen again. But this isn't going to be the end of Yakuza anyway. There's going to be more. It's just that this character.
Is it obvious where it's going next?
Not entirely. No. There is another one coming. I know, which it's like, I mean, the one that's coming. The main character is like a similar age as well to Kiryu as well, which seems like a bit of a weird sort of misstep. But yeah, I enjoyed it, but not as much as I enjoyed like Zero or Kiwami, mostly because it felt much less like you're living in this world. It felt much less like that. It felt much more like they were just funneling you through the story. Which
is there ever like DLC for these games, or that's it, just one and done?
I think Zero there was DLC, but it wasn't like extensive like story stuff or anything like that. I think it's done now because this was the first game using a new engine as well, so that kind of indicates. I mean, the new engine though is because they're doing a Fist of the North Star like game, and that'll be like absolutely perfect, you know, for this. Because yeah, it'll really fit with that. I'm looking forward to it, but yeah, I was really sad that it's over though. I mean, I felt really like I felt depressed actually after I'd finished it because I really love this character, but then on the other hand, I'm looking forward to the remakes of the others that I haven't played yet, so it's still
cool.
Fine. Yeah.
All right, then.
The other thing I played Until Dawn: Rush of Blood. John, have you or Matt, have either of you played this?
I played it.
I played a decent chunk of Rush of Blood. Very affecting and effective game, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that long. I mean, it's got seven sort of like missions you do in it, and they take about 10 minutes each. And it's I don't know, I didn't find it that scary, to be honest. Like compared with Resident Evil 7, like that Resident Evil 7 messed me up, and in the end, I couldn't play that in VR. But this, I think, because the jumps.
I think this game gets. I mean, I got to the last area, but I just stopped playing. But there was even like the earliest areas. There's bits where you'll turn to. Okay, this is the PSVR light gun shooter, by the way. There are bits where you'll turn to your left and right in the minecart to shoot someone, and suddenly there's like an enemy right in front of you. That sort of jump scares were quite effective at the beginning, and then towards the end. Yeah, the scariness seemed to wear off, but it's still a really, really fun game.
Yeah, I mean, it is because of the sort of the repetition. Really, they start to do it a bit too much, so it becomes, like you said, it's much, much less effective. But also because you got guns, I didn't feel so scared because it's like you can shoot stuff and it's not so bad. Whereas in Resident Evil 7, part of the kind of the genius of that in VR was that you're kind of defenseless a lot of the time, and it feels much worse, you know, with things that are like happening to you. But the roller coaster bits in this are brilliant as well, though. Like I had the real really feeling it was horrible. It's like going down a roller coaster, and like a couple of times, you know, when like the cart that you're sitting in stops, and I felt myself like move forward, you know, because you're expecting it to sort of like bump, you know, like stop. It's but it is still really good though. I mean, wasn't it free on PS Plus? I think.
It was in the last 2 or 3 months, yeah.
Yeah, because that must be how I got it. Because I didn't know so much about it, but that was good. I played Rigs as well, but not for that long. Because although that, as I said on the stream, it's good, but I'm never going to be any good at it. So I was like, I don't want to invest a lot of time into this.
And how sick did Rigs make you feel?
It was fine. I didn't feel sick at all from Rigs. It was there was no problem at all.
Rigs is normally one of the worst offenders. That was the one
Rigs
that
ended me.
I pushed through. I pushed through the heat and the sickness, and I was unwell for 25 hours. I mean, I probably won't go back to it, but it looked like such a great concept. If you were really truly into it and you weren't feeling sick, it looks brilliant.
Yeah, I think the only game that's really made me feel really sick was Skyrim. That made me feel ill, like playing that. I don't know why, but it just really did. And then the last game I played this week, which I've only just sort of started really, was Blossom Tales: The Sleeping King. I don't know if anybody knows about this.
No.
Okay.
It certainly doesn't sound like my sort of game.
Okay, so basically this is a top-down like Zelda-style game, and I'm playing it on the Switch, but it's also, I think it's on PS4 as well and PC. What they do, which makes it a little bit different, is it's got this really nice sort of storytelling feature whereby it's like the game story is being told by a grandfather to his grandchildren. So it's a bit like Bastion, whereby like as you're playing, like they'll be commenting, like the kids are commenting on what's going on, like from time to time. See, I'm not that far into this, so I can't really say that much about it yet. But it feels a bit like like Axiom Verge. Has nobody else played that apart from me?
No, but I'm aware of it. Yeah.
I mean, Axiom Verge feels like a little bit like it's in like a new Super Metroid, but it like taking this like traditional template and then expanding it a bit. This feels like the similar kind of thing, but with a link to the past. It's like a really sort of like building on that, and but it's it's good. I'm enjoying it. Although now I can't play it as much as I'd like because I had to send in my left Joy-Con for repair, and I'm probably not going to see that for I don't know how long now, which is a bit irritating. And that's it.
Sad times.
Yeah.
Have you got a Pro Controller?
I've got a Pro Controller, yeah, but sometimes you just want to play just holding the machine. And but it's gone.
Jardin, what have you got for us?
I mean, I've got to be honest, it's been a super busy week, and a week that I haven't played that much. I think I've played a bit of like PUBG and FIFA and things like that, but it's just been a bit more Far Cry 5, and I know
Why have you gone back to FIFA?
List. It's because I'm playing with our friend Jay, who can actually play, and co-op with him is a dream. Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
yeah. It's been tremendous.
I might have to get on that.
No, he basically plays the exactly same way as me. So imagine playing basically as yourself, but with another person enjoying it. And I think we've won every game. Anyway,
nice.
Yeah, I don't want to bang on about FIFA too much. Yeah, so I played a bit more Far Cry 5, but I've been having. Well, first of all, I wanted to address some of the stuff I spoke about last week. I have played a bit more into the story, and it does start to really fall apart and get very weak. So while I stand by what I was saying at the beginning about some of the aspects and elements reinforming that original story, I do. It does seem like something along the way where they've tried to make it non-linear and that you can go to different parts of the map and story stuff's going to happen. Like you talked about getting captured and things like that. I'm now kind of just thoroughly confused, and when I start getting confused in a game story, my brain's like, I'm not listening to any of this anymore. We're just going to concentrate on the gameplay, which is fine. It doesn't bother me. But I was kind of adamant about some stuff in the last episode, so I kind of take some of that back, and certainly hear other people's points. I don't take back so much the stuff about people expecting it to be some highly politicized thing, and we can talk about that a little later because there's actually some feedback about that, an email. But well, the other things I started having some of those bugs, man, on Xbox. I got into like you meet fairly early on, like a sort of military bunch or like a little militia, a little group that you work with. You know what I mean, like a resistance group.
What is it? Fool's End.
Some bollocks like that. And they got their own little base down, like underground base type deal. And so you go back there, get a couple of missions and whatnot. I went back there, and fucking everyone was just invisible. It was just their icons, so you could have. So you could still go and talk to them. I could still functionally do the stuff I needed to do. I'm walking on these things like the shop guy's invisible, like a couple of the mission guys are invisible, and I'm like, fuck this. So apparently, since I played that, there's been a patch. So I'm hoping that it fixes some of that stuff because there's a lot I like about the game. So I'm having more and more misgivings about the gameplay the more I play, but there's a lot I like about it, and obviously that it's broad and beautiful, and the scope for sort of mania and mischief is amazing. But thinking like, okay, am I going to play another 2 hours and then it's going to fall apart more? Is it one of those bugs that once it breaks, it gets worse and worse and worse, and things? That's what happened with Assassin's Creed Unity. Like once it snapped, everything started to fall apart around you. So I'm thinking, is this like this, or is this just going to be the odd sporadic thing here and there, and I reload and it's fixed? I reloaded this one and it wasn't fixed. So yeah, I'm just going to hold off, see if this patch has fixed it before I go back into it, because I don't want to play something that's yanking me out of its, the immersion that much. You know what I mean? And yeah, in terms of the gameplay stuff, like maybe it's a little bit too much auto aim, maybe it's just the AI is a bit inconsistent. So I'd be having like an amazing moment with it and then feeling a bit bored. An amazing moment with it, feeling a bit bored. I don't know what it is. It's just there's something about Far Cry 2 that is kind of broken in some ways, as that game was, as messy, as unfocused, as less structurally complete as its the sequels are. Far Cry 2 just had this unpredictable magic to it, and I'm not just talking about physics and things blowing up. I'm talking about like stuff that felt like it was generating genuine stories. I talked about this last week, and Far Cry 5 just isn't delivering in the same way, and nor of any of the others, and I'm always going to be a bit disappointed by that. As much as I admire the games and still have great moments in them, taking out an outpost, sniping using I just bought like sniper rifle, the silencer and stuff like that, like all that stuff's really, really good, of course, but I just still yearn for the kind of true magic of the second game, and I know that that's never going to come back. But if and when the bugs have gone and it's all fixed, I will plow on. But
so do you not think it has enough emergent gameplay, or the gameplay it does have just doesn't feel predictable enough?
It's unpredictable in that, here's an animal, here's an explosion, here's a van, all this sort of stuff, but not so much in the Far Cry 2, my gun's jammed, my buddy's just died, like my buddy's gone down over here, or I've just gone down and suddenly I'm being dragged away by my buddy who might not appear. He might, it's not like you're with them the whole time. They may or may not appear. They're like mercenaries. And you can have these incredible scenarios that just build and layer on top of each other, almost narratively, but it's unscripted narrative. Whereas that doesn't happen in Far Cry 5, it doesn't happen in Far Cry 4, it doesn't happen in Far Cry 3. And I don't think it's even huge issues, because there are so many things that those games in this game do that 2 didn't do. Like I talked about, there wasn't like the structured outpost, which is just beautiful and very satisfying to take down. The way you can bounce from activity to activity wasn't really there in 2. It had some real problems, like all the guards used to respawn in outposts and stuff. It was in many ways an inferior product, but these games just don't have. Some games just have magic, don't they? There's some games that just have something that sticks with you, and it's always baffled me that stuff's been stripped out of these sequels. And yeah, Far Cry 5's feeling like that a little bit more, but I think I'm just in a little bit of a slump when it comes to long single player games. My attention span is probably the worst it's ever been. I just can't seem to concentrate on anything for more than about 1 or 2 minutes, especially when something like that. So yeah, I think a lot of it's down to me as well, not so much the game. So we'll see. When the bugs are fixed, hopefully I'll go back to it and see if I can just slow my brain down a little bit, so I can actually get immersed. Maybe put my phone in another room, stop getting so distracted. But I'm just in a bit of a slump. I'm kind of waiting for God of War to see if that can switch me out of it.
That does look good.
Yeah,
that does look good. But no, I've been playing a hell of a lot of Far Cry 5, and I mean, the initial opinions I had on that game remain. I've played a hell of a lot this week. The only slight criticism I've got is that to build up. So each area, there's 3 main areas with 3 family members scattered around. I think the main antagonist in this game has been sort of put down a bit, but I don't think that's the problem. I quite like what they call him, the father. I think that's a very interesting character. I think it was haunting when you first met him, and he's got this eerie sort of look over everything that's happening. I think so far the main guy that I was battling against in the first area that I went to is a little bit. He doesn't live up to that as much as the father did. He's not as interesting. So by the time I'd killed him off, it didn't really have the same amount of power. It didn't really have a powerful effect on me. I'm interested to find out if the other two are more to say for themselves than this one did. But what I will say, and I'll back this up, some of the side missions, like going for outposts or blowing up those towers and stuff, that does get a bit repetitive. But in terms of the missions that you come across, whether they're side missions, unlocking those bunkers, or the main story missions, the variety in there is still blowing me away. I'm still doing stuff that I haven't seen before, not only in this game, but in any Far Cry game. There's a lot more aerial combat in it, and it feels so much fun to play. And I don't know how this is going to keep it up for the rest of the game. Like, I'd be massively surprised if the next area wasn't exactly the same as the last one in terms of mission structure. But right now, everything I've done has felt so unique. Some of it feels completely out of place, and that has an effect on the tone, like we said. I don't know if you found any of the... There's a certain character in the game. He's supposed to be like some old school superhero type guy. And it completely takes you away from the game, puts you in a separate loading screen, and then plays this heavy rock music singing about this character while you're playing it. You know, it's it's wacky.
I've not seen that. I've not seen that shit. No.
There's that stuff in there, and it kind of made me go, I didn't need this. Like, this is why people were pissed off that it didn't focus in on the serious issues that it was suggesting it was going to.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a failure in that, like, regardless of whether it is living up to the serious stuff that people may or may not have decided that the game was about, it doesn't seem to be interested in living up to its own story. That it,
no,
it
doesn't. It drops it a lot. It a lot, and but there's, I mean, the whole story bit at the end of the area that I've finished was so focused, and so it was haunting. It was horrible. Like, the stuff that goes on in that, like, it felt like a proper linear first-person shooter game that was focusing in on the story. So that's got me excited again to go on to the next area, but I know it's going to be hours and hours until I get to the next part of that. But no, I last night, I remembered that we bought those X41s, the Turtle Beach headphones back.
Yeah, I'm still
you
using
still
mine.
use them, right? Well, mine have been packed away in a drawer for about 4 years now, because when Harry was a baby, when I was gaming, that was my time to be on call. So if Harry cried, I had to go and sort him out. So putting some massive headphones around my ears and whacking the volume up wasn't an option. So I packed them away, and I thought, oh shit, I wonder if I've still got them. So I dug out all the bits, and I put new batteries in, and they work perfectly. So last night, as you were saying about, you find it hard to focus in, John, I was too, but and I'm not saying that you need to do this because different circumstances or whatever, but when I put these headphones on, the sound, I mean, it was incredible in the game. And I
only play with headphones.
Yeah, and I just totally got sucked in. Totally. I spent about 3 hours playing it last night and just zoning in. I also played Rocket League for the first time with massive headphones in, and that's a completely different experience as well. So
literally, I literally don't play games without headphones ever, unless
I had no idea there was a huge bass sound when you boost on your like when you go, when you boost to a certain level in Rocket League, it goes, right. I didn't know that existed. I was like, whoa, this sounds fucking class.
Yeah, I know. I can't now play without headphones.
Yeah,
unless there's someone else in a room or whatever. Just so I think
those things are back for good. But what I'm saying is that, I mean, I've got a lot more to play before I have my final opinion on the game. I'm disappointed with the story, but I've never thought that the story in these games were a strong suit. I mean, if I was to read you the story of Far Cry 3, it sounds like the most bollocks thing ever. Even the ending is like, what? Why would he even do that? And even Far Cry 4 gets way too far-fetched. It's done a little bit better on that. It is kind of, you play a character throughout the whole thing going, what the hell is going on here? It's that sort of thing. Took that approach. With this, you're fully immersed in what's going on, or you're supposed to be, and it doesn't live up to that. Although it is, that's not a strong point of the game, I'm still looking forward to loading it up every night, and I'm still looking for, and I still come away thinking I could play that for another 2 or 3 hours, because I'm just loving it. Love it.
Well, that's good. I think it's honestly, mate. I mean, I'm going to put 80% down of it to my brain. I'm all over the place at the moment. I'm not nothing bad. I just sometimes get like this where like my attention's been pulled in about 20 different directions, and I just
and then
can't
you stop playing.
Yeah, I can't read.
But then,
I can't read a book. Can't play a single player game. Can't watch a movie. Yeah, I'm just kind of like that at the moment.
I think it's also a fair shout to say that when you're playing a game that's that buggy, you're sort of trusting the game falls to pieces.
Yeah.
You don't trust it anymore, and you kind of think, well, I don't want to keep playing because at the back of my mind, no matter what's going on, I'll be thinking, is this game broken? Is it broken right
and
now?
Also
is that
like
what's supposed to be happening?
Yeah, I'm like, well, I'm not in a world here, am I? Like, compared to the beginning of the game, that brilliant cutscene, and then you kind of dumped into the open space, and it's all potential and possibility. It's like, wow, I'm in a world here. But then suddenly, where everyone disappears and things start bugging and flying all over the place, and you're like, okay, well, what am I doing? I'm
playing a game. Yeah, I kind of get that, but I get more that if I was in a mission and it was like shoot 5 satellite dishes, and I can't find the 4th one. There'll always be me going, well, it's broken then.
Yeah,
it might be there. I just might not have seen it yet. But like, I'm in my brain's going, no, it's broken. It's not there.
I had that when I was playing Assassin's Creed Origins, which isn't a hugely buggy game at all, to be fair. But because it's a big Ubisoft game, and people know I got love for Ubisoft, but there's no denying that some of their games have not been released in the best states over the years. Exactly as you say, I'm like, wow, this is they're just something's gone wrong. There's a progress bug. It's not in here or something like that. But no, almost every single time it wasn't the case. But I think once it was, and then do you know what I mean? You're exactly right.
Totally. All right. Okay. Cool. We've talked that one to death. I'm sure I'll have some more final opinions next week. But
just before you finish, do you think, given what you know now, do you think it's likely to be on your game of the year list come December?
For me, yes. Yeah. So far, it's up there. Because I'm having so much fun with it.
I'll see. It's going to be. Are we talking 4s or are we talking 10s?
What do you mean?
Top 4s or sorry? Because this show's top 4s, right? And then or are we talking about top 10 games of the year? So it won't make my top 4. I wouldn't have thought.
No. But we'll see. It's a long year. Still many games to come.
But it's the same length as any other year. But I know what you mean.
Is it not? Well, some years are longer than others.
All right. Fucking hell. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean, Lynn. Right, next. Next, Matt.
Yeah. Yep.
What games have you been playing?
I mean, I've done like loads of streams this week. I've I've barely played much other than say Dark Souls and A Way Out, of course. Obviously, still playing.
Did
Fortnite.
You do the Fire Sage in the end?
No, I went and killed Havel and got his ring, and then killed Hydra and upgraded shit, and I'll go back.
Okay, we won't dwell on that too much. But what I love about that is that no matter who you talk to about Dark Souls, there will always be one boss that a lot of people will breeze past, but there'll be one person that's completely, absolutely stuck on them. And that for Matt is the Fire Sage, because I mean, you didn't have much trouble with that either, did you, John? It's like
I was just thinking, like, what is that? I can't even remember what it is.
It's in the
Demon
fire
Ruins.
area, the lava area.
Yeah.
Where the bed of chaos is.
Yeah.
It's the boss from the asylum. So the first boss that you run past to start with.
So you go through the big doors, and then there's the guy there, yeah?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, he's got, so it's the same as him, but he's made of fire.
I think. Yeah, I think I second time him. But, that's just like whatever, that's just some bosses, it just happens.
That's it, isn't it? That's exactly what's weird about that game, is that there'll be bosses that Matt breezes past. But I think you did Sif way quicker than I did. Way quicker.
I think I remember
really struggling with that. But yeah, so you didn't do him last night because you spent fucking ages.
I upgraded loads of stuff, and but I'll do it on the next stream in a couple of weeks' time.
No,
but I'm still enjoying Dark Souls. Obviously, it's been up and down recently, but Yep, still enjoying it. I've been doing like weekday streams as well, but won't be doing one this week. But and I'm not actually back on this for a couple of weeks because obviously next Sunday this coming Sunday will be in London. So, but no, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it a lot still. I played A Way Out obviously a couple of nights, and I've been playing as a Fortnite, of course. I started Metro Last Light Redux on Game Pass for about an hour, as is classically the way. And this is the first time other than say Sea of Thieves, first time I've just probably browse Game Pass, and it just felt great. Just I can download that. Like I downloaded State of Decay.
Matt. That Metro game that's been free for ages. It was on like Games with Gold.
Oh well,
but only for 1 month. Like I've had situations where we went through that as well. I downloaded what games? I downloaded 4 games. Super Lucky's Tale.
Oh, I was gonna get that. Yeah. Have you played it yet?
What's that?
Have you played it yet?
I played it for about 2 minutes. A Sonic CD, and then realised it was the wrong. I didn't realise it was that Sonic. I thought it was a different one. I thought it was that that 3D one, the isometric one.
Sonic in 3D Plus or whatever it was.
Oh, I can't remember what it was called. It was on the PC. I remember playing it as a kid, loving it. It wasn't that.
That was a Traveller's Tales game. It was terrible. But go on. Wow, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't a Sonic game.
And then what was the other game that I played? I don't know. I've been playing a lot of Cars 2 as well, believe it or not. Now that's on Games with Gold. But anyway, I know what you're saying. The fact that there's a bunch of games there that you could download. And there was a few on there that I thought, I wish I'd downloaded Halo while I still had the trial, but just to give it a go.
Yeah, I mean, I've got like a 2-month trial, so I'm really, I just love the fact I can download this game. Anyway, I'm downloading those games I want, but basically Metro.
You can play loads of games for an hour each. It's like
it's great.
But Metro Last Light.
Yeah, so when
what
they
made you download that?
Today, but when they announced a new Metro at last year's E3, it looked great, and I've been sort of eyeing up because I think there's a double pack you can get with both Last Light and 2033. I've been looking at it here and there, and I just forgot about it. But as I was browsing Game Pass today, I saw Last Light Redux on there, so I thought, the game. It looks really interesting, and the new one looks class. So I started playing that. I've only played like 40 minutes, obviously, and I think God of War's out next week. So who knows how much longer I'll play this? But I want to get through this before the new one comes out, just because the new one looks so good, and I want to have a bit more context to the story. So did you say you played a Metro game before, Dave? I think you reviewed
just the first one, 2033.
Oh, okay. Is that the first one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool, okay.
I didn't particularly like it. I can't remember why, though. I think the world that it created was really interesting, but if I remember correctly, it felt like one of those theme park rides, with like the animatronics or whatever, where you're walking through and everyone's frozen until you walk up to them, and then they start animating as you approach, and that was really noticeable. I didn't really like the gunplay, and the things that you were fighting, I found a bit dull. So yeah, I never fell in love with that game. What I did like, though, was that it had that really interesting mechanic where bullets were currency. So every time you were shooting, it was like you were pissing away money because you could trade bullets for upgrades and armor and stuff at shops. So you were a little bit more selective with your shooting. I like the fact that it made you think about how much you were just firing bullets in that game. But other than that, I didn't really.
I looked into it because I obviously knew there was a double pack available, and when I saw this on Game Pass, I googled which people prefer, and a lot of people actually said Last Light is a much more polished game and the better one. I think 2033 is apparently a bit more flaky, but
Last Light's way better.
Well, I've also wanted to play like Stalker. This sort of apocalyptic end of the world sort of stuff. It's really really interesting to me. So I want to carry on this, and particularly before the next one is out. I think I just looked at some trailers before we start recording. It just said 2018, so they hadn't even released announced a release date for the new Metro, but that looked great at E3, and so I want to crack through this a little bit. Do you know how long these games are?
That one's probably 8 to 10 hours.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, even I'll be able to get through that. But I will say next week I want to play God of War, so who knows?
Yeah. That's not out till 20th, though.
Oh, 20th. Okay, awesome.
Right. Okay. Is that it?
Yeah, just Fortnite as well because it's brilliant fun still.
Oh, mate, again, Matt on Twitter is like, this is the best game ever now.
But you must have watched that video, like the one with the rockets. It's just insane.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks good,
still
but it's
playing
just
this on
funny.
mobile, Matt?
Yeah, I go to this coffee shop every morning and I basically get my latte and whatever, and I
Blows
play a
my
couple of
mind.
games there.
You'd rather play that than Celeste or something like that on Switch. It just
Well,
blows my mind.
just because it's in my pocket and I just play it a couple of games and I'll go back to go to the office. It's fine.
Have you stopped taking your Switch to the office now?
Yeah, I don't have a bag.
Yeah.
Only because if I fall off my skateboard, that thing's in bits. I just don't bother.
That's the line of the show. Well done.
Right, okay, go on. The emails.
So, if you want to email the show, it's thecomputergameshow@gmail.com. So go and do that. Right, hey guys, many of the reviews, it's like I said, we're going to talk about some Far Cry 5 again, so apologies to Matt and James. Hey guys, many of the reviews surrounding Far Cry 5 all carried similar complaints about the story lacking the teeth that the marketing had made out. As you discussed already, some of the trailers leading up to the releases painted a picture where Far Cry 5 would be tackling real political and social issues facing America and having something to say. The final release failed to live up to this. I think you'll find that's the opposite of what we said last week, or certainly the opposite of what I said last week, but okay. My question is, do you think big AAA titles like Far Cry 5 are just too big to take such risks? Would Ubisoft be afraid of alienating a portion of their audience by becoming too political? We've seen many big budget titles tell powerful stories like The Last of Us, but are we ever going to see these same big budget titles also making strong political messages, or is such storytelling only for the realm of smaller indie titles like Papers, Please? Hope this makes sense, and that is from Ben. Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes sense, but I do think that, other than the very first trailer that they released for Far Cry 5, I don't think that if you actually look back and look at any of this stuff, I don't think any of it is hugely politicized. I do think that first trailer definitely leans on hot button issues, but I think people kind of made it out in their minds that they wanted this game to be something that it never necessarily was, and I don't think Ubisoft was completely innocent in that fact. I think they were more than happy to court that fact, despite the fact that consequent trailers and demos and stuff didn't necessarily push into that
This is the
direction.
second time it's happened to them, isn't it? Like, everyone wanted Far Cry Primal to have dinosaurs and it didn't.
Yeah,
And everyone
I
thought
don't
this would be a
think that's the
political
same
thing and it didn't.
but yeah, I mean, this happens quite a lot with some of their stuff, I think, generally. But do I think that AAA games are too big to take such risks? I think it might not necessarily be that. I just think, is that really their intention to make a huge political... I don't think they are too big. I think if a big studio, whether it was Ubisoft or Rockstar or something like that, wanted to make... I mean, I'm sure the next GTA is going to be like vehemently anti-Trump, depending on whenever it comes out.
Yeah, but GTA sort of falls under that South Park bracket of being anti-everything, doesn't it?
That's true.
It pokes
That's
fun at everything. So.
That's entirely true. But I don't think they're too big. I just don't think that's really... I don't think games are a particularly efficient storytelling system for something trying to make that acute a point. So that's
see, because I don't think it would. I think in terms of the games themselves, I don't think that's why they would steer away from making a political, like putting a political flag in the ground. What I think is more of a problem is what it does for the publisher, because if a publisher gets tagged with, like, if an individual game gets tagged with an anti-right-wing view, then that's, on its own, but Far Cry is so linked to Ubisoft that if then the people that it's turning against look at the publisher itself and say, hold on, you poking fun at Republicans here, then they're going to boycott the rest of their output. And I think that's when maybe they do have that fear of actually drawing a line in the sand and saying we're sitting either side. It's an interesting one, and it's one that I think in this day and age you're going to see more and more games flirting with that, but not necessarily going all the way. There was this big thing about how Wolfenstein was very much anti-Nazi, but that's a little bit different. Because who's not anti-Nazi?
Of course it fucking is. I mean,
even people that are being called even people that are being called Nazis are say we're not Nazis, we hate Nazis, blah blah blah. It's not. It's it's when it comes to a political standpoint, I think it's not necessarily down to the game and what it's trying to say. It's down to the publisher. That's when it gets complicated, because you put out a game that's trying to make a political statement. That's one thing, but if that could lead to a boycott of the whole publisher's,
yeah. Like in terms of Ubisoft, they're one and the same. So one kind of informs the other in that respect. If the publisher and the developer are the same, so there's no.
But there's certainly different teams.
Like, there's different teams. But, if you're going to do something like that, I'm sure it requires sign off from the. Nothing's going to get published by Ubisoft without it going through.
Yeah,
Yves Guillemot, is it like something of that size? I get the point you're making. I just think I think the potential's there. I think if you're in a climate where you're so worried about what might happen, people say, then you should not be making any sort of large statements with your game, because you don't have the conviction behind it enough to make a statement. So if you don't have that, that's fine. You don't have to just make a game as entertainment, escapism, like absolutely.
Yeah, but
if you don't have that conviction, if it's in your mind, whatever part of the chain you are, whether you're director of the game or designer level, writer or publisher, if at any point of those people don't have the conviction in their mind to make that statement and to make something and believe in it, then they shouldn't do it anyway, because they don't have enough conviction.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But then it's that business versus art argument, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm saying if the artist doesn't have the conviction to do it anyway, if they have the conviction, then they should fight to do it. Whether I agree with the politics or not, it could be a fucking, somebody who I completely politically disagree with. But if they have that conviction, then they should fight for it, regardless of whether they're in a big studio or not. But if they don't, if they have the thought like you're thinking right now, where they do, our publishers buy it, well, then it's gone anyway. You don't believe it enough.
Yeah, but it's I know, I totally know what you're saying, but as I don't know. There's part of me thinks it's not down to the artists themselves. I'm sure that they're convincing what they want to say with it, but it's not their decision at the end of the day, is it? Because they're not pumping the money into the game. But then
they don't have enough say anyway.
No, you're right.
But if you're the top director at Ubisoft, or like heading up an Assassin's Creed, heading up a Far Cry, then you do have a fucking lot to say. Like, you have a lot of sway in those meetings, I'm sure. Like, you really can force a lot through. But like, are you willing to fall on your sword for what you want to say, or are you just looking to make entertainment? I'm not hammering anybody here for not making those sorts of judgments. By the way.
No. It doesn't sound like you are.
It's probably a far better idea not to do it, because I don't think a game, especially a big budget game, especially an open world big budget game, is necessarily a very, like I said, very good way of making any sort of political statement. Left wing, right wing, middle, up, down, left to right. Like, it's just not. So whereas something like Papers, Please is. Although I wouldn't say that as a necessary, it was more like a kind of. Is it political?
Human rights. It's a commentary on human rights.
Yeah, exactly.
Else,
sort of like a. Yeah, I don't necessarily think it's hugely political, but It's like, I think I made my point. Going in circles.
You did. Sorry, James, we cut you off.
No, that's all right. It's all right. I mean, I haven't really got anything much to add apart from. I mean, I kind of agree with you, David, with this. I mean, I think a lot of this is down to the fact that I think it's very unlikely that these big publishers are actually would go for this. Like, even if in the studio you got a bunch of people like, I really want to make this game or whatever, they've got shareholders that they care about more than anything.
Yeah, that's what makes it more difficult to drum home the point. They don't want to alienate a potential audience.
Yeah.
And so because that's money.
That's why. I mean, you're going to get games which can look at things from different angles, but I think the idea that somebody's going to make something which is going to come down like really hard on one side and say this is what we think is right, I think is very unlikely to happen. You're more likely to get that through indie games though, like where people, they have more control over what they want to put out. But
and then there's less money. There's less money on the line as well.
Yeah, exactly.
There?
Yeah, but the big publishers, I think they really wouldn't do that. It's it's like you don't get like massive corporations like McDonald's or whatever like coming out like really strongly on one side of anything ever because they can't afford to alienate anyone. Because
it's true. I must say, Horizon Zero Dawn, certainly stuck its flag in the ground a little bit in some stuff in the matriarchal society and all that stuff, and alienated a lot of idiots who can't cope with any sort of discourse or anything that might not. I do completely link in with their narrow-minded worldviews. So, I mean, they had a lot of backlash on that. So, I've got respect for them for doing that. I don't even think it was that skillfully done in the game myself, but regardless, I like the fact that they were prepared to put themselves out there a little bit. So, but I don't disagree with anybody hearing this. I'm just, I kind of get pissed off at the idea that there's some artists there at a senior level in this hypothetical world that we've made up that might have this like real fucking serious political belief or whatever it is, but they're just gonna just like, cow. What's the word? Cow something? I don't know.
Yeah,
kowtow. Yeah, kowtow to their bosses. I would hope in this hypothetical world that I've made up, I would hope those people would leave and make their own games or make whatever the hell it is they want to do, because I don't know. There's a lot of, I do feel that there's a lot of like, political, like, I can't think, my words are terrible today. Like I said, my brain's all over the place. No, just people wearing, political opinions like fucking designer clothes. Do you know what I mean? They're more than happy to show off about them, but if it actually came to actually meaning anything, if they came to actually putting their job on the line or anything, they'd back down instantly. Anyway, I'm off. Yeah,
I believe it's called virtue signaling, isn't it?
Did you just say I'm off? I'm
off
to bed. Goodbye.
No.
Thanks for living it, John.
I'm off my my soapbox now.
All right, no. I think that's fair. Everything you said's fair there.
Good question. Good email though. Jesus.
Yeah, it got us chatting,
yeah,
mate.
Man.
Next.
Oh, fucking still got to talk, haven't I? All right.
You
take
have.
it down a notch. All right, dudes. That was a great question. It was in tweet and
it started like the complete opposite. We go through all of that.
It's great.
Hello, dudes.
Adam from Bognor, he tweeted this and emailed, so he really wants to know. So, all right, dudes, what's the best live show you've been to? Dave, Queens of Stone Age?
Oh God, yeah, maybe. The Book of Mormon was incredible. I see a lot of theatre because of Joe. Joe essentially sells tickets to theatre, so we get a lot of free tickets. The Book of Mormon's incredible. Matilda blew me away as well. I think Book of Mormon tipped it because I love Trey and Matt, and it was a lot funnier, obviously. But one of the biggest surprises was Matilda. That is incredible. If you get the chance to see that, it's really, really good. The songs are great. Tim Michelin wrote that stuff. Now, I'm not a massive fan of Tim Michelin, but the songs that he wrote for that are beautiful. But yeah, probably Queens of Stone Age, Rage Against the Machine are up there. CSS at Reading, they were a surprise. They were really good. Oh God, yeah, so many good shows. Blur at Hyde Park, they were incredible. It was really weird because my brother, when we were growing up, my brother was always a big Oasis fan, and he hated Blur. And I didn't mind Oasis, but I was more of a Blur fan. And then a few years ago, God, it was probably about 8 years ago now, Oasis played at Wembley Stadium, and 6 days later, Blur played at Hyde Park. So we got tickets for both and said, this is it. We will decide who are the best. We'll go and see them both within the space of a week. We walked out before the Oasis gig had finished. For starters, they were supported by Kasabian, who blew them up, like made them look stupid. So we walked out before the end of the Oasis gig, and the Blur gig at Hyde Park was one of the best I've ever seen. So that summed that up. But yeah, god damn, I've been to so many good shows that I'm there's not many bands that I've wanted to see that I've never seen live. How about you, John?
Yeah, I mean, Rage many years ago was pretty fucking special.
Yeah.
Got lucky enough to see the Black Keys in like reasonably small venue down in Bournemouth, of all places. Like, I think it's like 1,500 people that fit in that place. And they don't play anywhere that small anymore. That was fucking amazing. Recently, I don't know. I mean, it's like, have I seen any good comedians? Not really any good comedians live. I don't do theatre that much. So yeah, it's going to be gigs, and they put like Muse in 2000 as well. When Muse was just before they'd done one album, and it was before they kind of got a bit heavier, and they just played the whole first album, but like crazy heavy. That was good. But yeah, I mean, it's got to be Rage, really. That was just like mind blowing.
James, I saw a seminar once. About what James?
Thanks, David. Do you want music or theatre or comedy or what?
Whatever.
Let's go theatre.
All right. One thing I saw which really has always stuck in my mind.
I saw a great pantomime with Barry from EastEnders. Oh, God.
Apparently, it was behind you. Oh, but it wasn't behind you.
Yeah, one that's always stuck in my mind was The Woman in Black, which I saw.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Did you see it like after drinking though? Because it's a lot more scary if you do that.
I saw it with my missus, and she was screaming throughout the whole thing. Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, it's really good. Also, Stuart Lee, I saw him live recently.
Yeah, I've seen him live a few times.
He was pretty great. And I remember seeing like Lee and Herring, like when they were doing like the double act sort of stuff a very long time ago, and people walked out, which was
really,
yeah, they got upset and people walked out, which was that was pretty good. But yeah,
Matt,
music wise, I mean, Foo Fighters headlining Isle of Wight Festival. I think it was 2005 or 2006. That was incredible. More of it, I saw Arctic Monkeys in the week they went to number one on like an Enemy tour. That was just an amazing moment because you just knew they were blowing up, like, you know, even in like mainstream press, and there was just like an amazing feeling when they were playing A Certain Romance that it was like a special moment, really. And I saw this band called Nordic Giants, who I hadn't heard of before, but they're supporting my mate's band. Well, no, they were headlining the gig at which my mate's band was supporting, and they're basically two guys just up in crazy like Nordic outfits. They play instrumental music. It's really epic. The sort of stuff you're hearing on a film soundtrack, but that's combined with screens on stage which have like mini movies or animations, and it's just such an incredible gig. I mean, after the gig ended, me and my mates who were there just stood there with like open mouth. It was just like, it's the most intense, mind-blowing gig I've been to ever. So if anyone's listening to this, you get a chance to see Nordic Giants live, you definitely go, because like the combination of epic music and these visuals, it's just mind-blowingly good.
Oh God, I'm just thinking of all the great gigs I've been to now. It's good. And what I want the listeners to do is now think of the best gig or show they've ever seen live, and then just realise that next week that's going to change, because you would have seen on YouTube, if not live in person, the computer game show live at Rezzed. It will change it. That'll be top of your list. Because, I mean, John is definitely going to choke Matt out now after tonight's episode. It's definitely going to happen. I can't wait.
Right. Talking of that show, there's a question. Sorry. Hey guys, just wanted to wish you luck on the upcoming live show at Rezzed. Unfortunately, unable to attend, so I don't think my wife would appreciate me going to watch four guys talking games while taking a piss and basically insulting each other while leaving her and our week-old newborn at home. I don't know, if there was a definite promise of this choke out from John or Matt, I might be able to wangle it. So I can't promise anything, but we shall see. Anyway, this brings me on nicely to my actual question. As mainly a PS4 gamer and not wanting to relinquish playing games completely for the time being, does anyone have any suggestions of any games that might work around having a newborn in one arm and a pad in the other? Or do I just give up and buy a Switch in an attempt to claim that honestly an early birthday present for our newborn daughter? Cheers guys, love the podcast, keep up the good work. I've forgotten to write your name down, I'm very, very sorry.
Firstly, congratulations.
Yeah, exactly. Congratulations. I know you've done this question before on the show, but people, we got to look after these new parents because they're fucked up and they're having a tough. Their brains are all fucked up. Yeah, for real. So any suggestions on these like single-handed games? You can wrap your arms around a kid. Yeah. You wrap your arms around the kid, you'll be alright. Or I played Skyrim when Elliot was like 4 months. I just put him on the ground. You can't go.
This is the best times.
Actually, the email's like Gareth Parry, by the way. But the first few months, like the first 4 months. I remember. I think the PS4 just came out when Elodie was born. But the first 4 months, they basically sleep a lot and then shit and then eat and then sleep a lot. So the first few months aren't so bad. After that, it goes downhill. But also, I remember playing quite a few games at the beginning, and after that, I was watching things on Twitch because that's the only way I could even play games. But but then
I got a lot of game time in, and in fact, actually, like Far Cry would be a good shout for this because there's a lot of wandering around, a lot of discovery stuff. It's perfect. Do you know the game that I wish had come out when Harry was that young? Zelda Breath of the Wild. I mean, I can't think of a more perfect game to play while your kid is sleeping in your arms, and because it's the sort of game where you can just go wandering and you're constantly curious with what's round the next corner. And it's got a pause button, which helps, which I'll be using a lot. That game seems absolutely perfect. So yeah, if you've not got a Switch...
buy a Switch, definitely. It's...
I mean, standard. But if you've not got a Switch and you're looking for a game to play when you've got a baby, and I cannot think of anything better than Zelda Breath of the Wild to play during that period. My word. Not only that, it's relaxing, it's fun. Yeah, I wish that come out in that period because
in terms of relaxing and fun, didn't you play Dark Souls in the early years, early months?
I did.
Harry?
I don't know why. I did that. It didn't even have a fucking pause button.
Insane.
Yeah, I don't know why I played that during that period, but I did.
New parent brain.
It got me through. I think, yeah. I don't know. Something else to focus on, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Got to do something. Got to do something to get
through.
Got to
do something.
Right. Hello again, fellas. Because of the nature of my job, brackets, I'm a postman, I have the opportunity to listen to quite a lot of podcasts. Recently, I've started working my way through the Joypod back catalogue, and I've found listening to them retrospectively really insightful. Whether it's hearing James' ever-evolving apathy for the hobby, or listening to David's seemingly obsessive interest in the live TV broadcasting abilities of the Xbox One. One thing that did take me by surprise was some of the ridiculously accurate predictions a couple of you made. First of all was James, when he pretty much perfectly described Alien Isolation as a game he would like to see made. Then, a few episodes later, Michael pitched an idea that was exactly what PUBG is today. So my question is, do any of you have any more game ideas that could potentially make someone else very wealthy? Keep up the good work, lads, and good luck with the Rezzed live show. And that is from Simon. I don't, because my brain, I can't think of game ideas. I've tried to a million times and I just don't.
Yeah, I think we covered this. I mean, me neither. And even if I did, I wouldn't be mentioning one on this podcast.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Racing battlegrounds, where you can knock each other off the track, and also there's a blue circle closing in from the back, and if you're at the back, you get knocked out.
Because you know how H1Z1 updated recently, cool, and that's got like a racing.
I don't even know what H1Z1 is.
That's basically like this zombie mod. It's basically it's like Daisy.
Don't sound like my idea, mate.
Yeah, it's basically like Daisy, but it's like another version of Daisy. And
there's no zombies in my idea. All right,
it's
just cars.
Your idea is basically Micro Machines, though, just bigger.
I know what you're talking about, Matt.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still mad at you from earlier, but I don't like to see anyone get mugged off. So I feel like you got mugged off a bit there. Yeah,
Thanks,
H1Z1 is the game that basically was the precursor to PUBG. The Battle Royale mode came out in H1Z1, and they, like Matt said, they just updated with the car mode. I don't know too much about it, but yeah, it sounds a bit like your idea, Dave.
Oh, well, you don't know too much about it, so it might not be my idea at all. John. James? James?
I've got nothing I'd want to share with everyone, so...
Great,
yeah.
Excellent. Right, you've got no fucking ideas anyway. Who's listening for you to come up with ideas for games, James?
Well,
no one,
obviously, earlier on somebody did, so yeah, go on.
Who?
Well, the guy that just wrote in, didn't you listen to the email?
No. Who was the guy that wrote in? Simon, you're a postman, right? And that must mean that you have some great anecdotes about like weird situations you've been in when you knocked on people's doors and stuff. Can you give us like a couple of really good stories to read next week?
Yes, please.
Or the week after? Because I'm bang up for that. Like, have you ever is it true that ladies turn up at the door and they're all together? Is that true? I want to know. I want to know proper stories. We don't know who you are properly, so you can get away with giving us the proper full lowdown.
Yeah, I've not put a surname in there.
Right, good. I want embarrassing stories and sexy stories. Bring them. The email in. Good.
David,
It's going to be a
right.
show in a couple of weeks.
Almost that could be the line of the show, actually. Embarrassing stories and sexy stories. I want them. Right. Discord, which has appeared. I didn't fucking write this. We've got a Discord at bit.ly.tcgs Discord. Loads of people on there. Revenge of Gibbon writes, given that high street stores are dying and basically all game culture going online, what kind of weird deviants will the next generation weaned on Drake streams and racist Twitch chat turn out to be? Well, a bit like Matt, I would have thought.
Yeah, basically.
It's just Matt in a teenage body. That's what it
imagine.
is. No, thank you.
No thanks. I wouldn't worry about it. That just sounds like the kind of thing old people say. Don't worry. They'll be all right.
It's true. It's true. It's the circle of life. We say it a million times. How many times have you heard your parents go, God, this music's awful. I have no idea. The music's not as good as it was in our day. When literally that's all I say these days. What is this noise? Just turn it off.
Oh, Dave, you should
Put
do
a
an
bit of
artist
your
called
Arctic
Scarlord.
Monkeys.
You love him.
Yeah, Matt pretends to like it.
Yeah,
That's what happens.
Matt, don't forget who told you who that was.
With James.
It was me.
Yeah.
But yeah, you should.
James still busts out the Beethoven every now
I
and
can
then.
imagine James listening to Eagles.
No, I don't. James dropped some good albums when we were asked our best albums. So I
everyone's loving his
don't
uncle
sleep on James.
recommendation.
I think James is quietly well into his trip hop and trap music and all sorts of stuff.
I just bought a Slick Rick album yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
You bought an album?
Yeah.
Okay.
Slick Rick.
Because I haven't got Spotify, so sometimes
You haven't got Spotify?
No, I don't use Spotify. Sorry, I know that's.
All right, no,
I know it blows
all
your
right,
mind, but there are some
He
people that
prefers
don't use
vinyl,
Spotify.
Dave.
Is there much Beethoven on Spotify? Right, okay. Is that it? Are we done?
Yeah, let's do some tweets. There's a few tweets. There's not many. You know what? There's not many. It's tweets time, like whatever. There's not many because there's just a load of nonsense on the Twitter today. People yelling at Matt having some argument with some YouTube channel about how many subscribers they had. So I was like, where the fuck? I can't read all the questions. It's just endless shit.
What's that about? What
Yeah,
was
I
that
don't know
tweet
that,
about,
yeah.
Matt?
I don't
Oh,
know
look
what
how
the hell
many
is going on.
subscribers I've got. What was that?
And it was 700. I'm like, all right, mate.
Yeah, and I was
Pipe
like,
down.
okay.
It's this guy. It's this guy Ian who doesn't matter. It's not worth mentioning.
Okay, so
Ian,
that's why.
mate,
If
I
you
wouldn't
did
worry.
tweet
I
him with a
wouldn't
good question, I missed it because there's a load of shit, and I'm sorry.
Just scroll down the mentions, John. How hard
I told
is
you
it?
my brain isn't working right. Anyway, got some here. Adam Turner. With the remaster of Spyro being announced this week, which PS1 classic game would you like to see remastered? Skate 3 doesn't count as a default answer for this. I would like to see a game called Silent Bomber remastered. That game is business. Nobody ever played it. It's kind of like a sort of top-down / isometric game where you drop these, like you dash around and you can drop 3 bombs, bam, 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 and then fire them off. It feels like Vanquish. You're like a robot. It's just a fucking amazing game. People who've played it know. Let's see that shit played again. Played again, remastered, whatever.
I want
Anyone
to
else?
see. I want to see Cooler World remastered. The Cooler World was a puzzle game where you played a beach ball and you were basically bouncing along these puzzles or these environments, which are basically like different parts of, say, like different Tetris blocks stuck together, and you're essentially trying to make your way from one end of the track, the environment, to the other. I remember playing that for hours and hours and hours, and I loved it. So Cooler World, please.
Good game, though.
Destruction Derby, right?
Oh God, yes, that's a good one.
That basically is the idea that I had. Well, I should have just gone with that. You know, the whole battle royale thing. 100-player Destruction Derby. You're all just in this big circle.
Oh, I
That's getting
love
smaller,
Destruction
obviously.
Derby. I had that on
So
Saturday.
did I, man. Do you remember? Yeah, but it was crap on the Saturn. Like, it was all like
Can
the
you
frame
not?
rate was harsh shit.
Can
It was.
It
was-
they did a modern version, didn't they? Or like a more recent one, and that was disappointing as well.
Yeah, I'd like to
Yeah,
see
bring that back,
Go on,
please.
James.
I'll probably go for Colony Wars because there's so few like flight, sort of space combat games these days anyway, and it'd be quite nice to play that again.
Was Bushido Blade 1 or PS1 or
One.
2?
That's
PS1.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then, God,
Yeah.
that as well.
Yeah, that's always my go-to answer, to be honest, when it comes
Yeah.
to this
What
normally.
was a fighting game where the players could change into animals?
Like Bloody Raw?
Oh, it might be that. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
enjoying that as well.
Wasn't that a Sega game?
I thought that was like previous generation, but I don't know.
No,
maybe
but,
not.
as a
No, maybe,
PS1
maybe
definitely.
not. Sorry, no, I'm thinking of Primal Rage. All right, all good on that one. Adam's
All
got
good
another
on that
question. This is a good question considering what's happening next week. Have any of you checked out what games will be at Rezzed, and if so, are there any you are going to give a go? We had a little look, didn't we? We had a little gander the other day.
We've got a few listed out that we've got to go and see
Yeah,
because we've spoken to people that...
I really want to play Below. I might have to get an appointment for that because I'm really excited to see what that's about.
Mhm.
I'm really excited to see what that's about, but I'm not prepared to queue. No, I'm really excited to go and see the one man and his PC in a corner type games. I just want to experience some weird shit and talk about it on stage. I'm looking forward to doing that.
Also,
I
Onrush.
guess that's what's really exciting about Rezzed, because you don't know what you're going to play. Whereas when you go on EGX, you're like, oh, it's got that there, it's got that there. We know what that game is. I'm looking forward to trying it. Whereas, I'm walking into Rezzed thinking, fuck knows what I'm going to experience there. Wow, what an exciting way to treat the Yeah, what an
Also,
interesting
I'm
day that
hoping,
could turn out.
because it's the Sunday, it's going to be a little quiet. Like, typically these things, if they're 3 days, the Sunday's like a lot quieter. Everybody's come for the Saturday or whatever. So hopefully fewer queues, a bit more space to see a few things here and there before the show.
Well, from 3 o'clock in the afternoon onwards, it's going to be dead because everyone's going to be queuing up outside our room.
Everybody's
sure they
going
get
to
the good
see
seats.
us. So we shall find out next week. And then to finish off, Tom Doughty, Rikaku Police. James, how's the exhaust on your Honda Jazz doing?
It's pretty good, actually. It's a lot smoother than it was, so I'm pretty happy with the job.
Ah, look at that.
Some smooth jazz you got there, James. You're playing some smooth jazz.
Well done, Dave.
Cheers, mate. All right, that's it. John, what were the questions like this week? You happy with them?
Well, yeah, I mean, the emails were solid. I left a couple out because they were just crazy. They're too long, but keep them coming. And tweets, like, if you put in a good tweet, I'm sorry, it was just like, but it was like people asking questions. Like, that's a question, but it was a question to Matt about, oh God, it was a nightmare. So yeah.
Matt, anything they should be doing on social media?
Yeah, I mean, this coming Sunday we're doing a live show at Rezzed. Perhaps you've heard of it. If you haven't already got a ticket and you're in the area, or even if you're not in the area, get to the area and then get tickets at egx.net/Rezzed. We're in the Rezzed Sessions room, arena, if you will. From
you could probably just
4:30.
rock up and say you're James Farley, right?
Yeah,
What?
if you've got like a Honda Jazz exhaust, just bring it along.
Turn up in your Honda Jazz, park it outside the expo,
Yeah.
and just walk
Carrying
out,
loads
go up
of
to the nearest
vinyl.
security guard
Carry
and
loads of
go,
vinyl,
James
wear
Farley.
flares. Yeah. And say, I bloody love China. Yeah. And
You'll get in.
You'll probably get in. But yeah, basically we were in the Rezzed Sessions area from 4:30 till 6. And let me just scroll to the top of this Google Doc because afterwards there will be some drinks if you fancy that at the Minories, which is near Tower Hill. It's a pub. But otherwise, go to our Discord at bit.ly/TGCS Discord. There's loads of people chatting on there about where to meet and whatnot. Obviously on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on Dash Radio, we're everywhere. Also streaming, so I'm not streaming this week, but go to twitch.tv/The Computer Game Show to find out when we're streaming next. James and I want to stream again because we enjoyed our way out so much, so please drop your suggestions about what James and I could stream. Anything that involves us somehow drinking, basically, is what we want. And that's it. We look forward to seeing you all at the live show.
I suggested Rec Room, for PlayStation VR. It'd be a bit difficult with the, in the headset and everything, but it would be quite funny.
Well, actually, Robert, just before you end, have any of you guys played either Army of Two or the Kane and Lynch games? Would they be fun for James and I to play?
Can you pay 50 cent?
No, you can't. Isn't it? We tried that, didn't we, Dave? Before?
No, only locally. We never tried it on the internet.
Is that backwards compatible? If so, then that's a must.
Yeah, we're basically we're going to move some co-op games, so hit us up on Twitter and whatnot. But yeah, also drop us an Apple Podcast review because we love that and that really helps us. That's about it.
Well, thanks for living it. Next week's show, if you only listen via the podcast feed, next week's show will be a recording of that live show. We're not 100% sure when it'll be out, but hopefully it'll be out on the usual day, Wednesday. If you want to see the video, it will be up on YouTube at around the same time, or it will be streaming live on YouTube.
And Twitch,
thanks
probably.
for living it. All right, Matt. Thanks for living it. Matt's never editing the podcast again because he's a scumbag, and we'll catch you next week for episode 100. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.